Assalamu alaikum, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to another arena. Back looks like it's falling apart. Yeah, so another arena. It's that show where we invite non-Muslims to come and challenge the gladiators in the arena with regards to Islam, or if they want to come and try and present Christianity or atheism or whatever ism they have. We're here for you, inshallah. I hope my people have been fishing and we've got some decent guests. I heard Black Jesus might be joining us, so everyone look out for him. Quite an opinionated geezer. Other than that, without further ado, let me introduce the Ronaldo, that goes without saying. Let's introduce the gladiators. So today, making his debut, just catching him drinking there, is brother Khalil from Kalamology.
Wa
alaikum assalam, my brother. How are you, man?
Great, good to be with you, Hamza. Thank you very much for having me.
Alhamdulillah, bro. I've only ever experienced you in the clubhouse, isn't it? So I've never seen you in the flesh. So subhanallah, mashallah, welcome. A lot of people are so excited that you're here. So I'm looking forward to good things from you. The irresistible Yusuf Ponders is in the house. Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. I'm one of those who are excited to have Khalil with us.
You're one of the ones excited, mashallah. Mashallah. And then we've got Asadullah somewhere behind the Hey, there he is. Salam alaikum, bro. How are you doing, man? You good? Alhamdulillah. We're still waiting on Hashim.
Are we the hashtag Yeti gang? Is that what we are? Are we all? Khalil, have you got?
Say it again. Wait, what? Say it again.
Are we the hashtag Yeti gang? Where's your Yeti mic?
Oh yeah, where's your Yeti mic?
Oh wait, I didn't get it today. I just brought my headphones.
Okay. All right. So it's just Hamza's then. Don't worry. If it was SC Dow or something. All right.
No. Apologies. what a bad debut.
No.
Without further ado, I'm just going to put the link out there. Usual scenario. Muslims, please. This isn't a stream for you. This is a stream for non-Muslims, because we want to see them if they can try to put a dent in this beautiful deen of ours. So I'll just pin the link. Oh yeah, we're so happy with Man United, Ronaldo coming home. Very happy about that. Yusuf was overjoyed, man. He couldn't believe the news when he heard it.
I'm so apathetic about sports.
Honestly, all sports are the same. Balls crossing lines.
Don't start misquoting me here. You know exactly why I said that.
That's what you said.
No. I was giving an example of why you saying all stories are the same is absurd. In the same way that saying all sports is the same. Basically, I'll let you know what we've been debating about whether or not it's all right in books like Plato's Republic for the author to put like a summary at the beginning of every section of what you're to expect, basically. Like given a skeleton of the steps that are going to be taken in the coming chapter or in the coming sub-chapter. And I like that, personally, because with me, repetition is the master of learning. So I really don't mind.
You should have that on a t-shirt, mate, honestly. The amount of times you say it.
Because the amount
I bet you got it tattooed somewhere, haven't you?
The amount of times we've had to have this conversation. And like for me, I just don't mind the commentary.
What about you? What about you guys?
Translators commentary.
Do you like when you like Plato's Republic and you got that guy at the beginning telling you the conclusions of each conversation before the conversation's even been observed? Do you like that?
The translator's commentary, basically, on what's going on.
It's a spoiler.
He keeps calling it a spoiler. It's not the same as a spoiler.
It's a spoiler.
No, because he keeps comparing it to things like, like Lord of the Rings. If you're watching Lord of the Rings and someone tells you the ending.
I said I don't need somebody telling me at the beginning of each chapter the conclusion of each chapter before I've even read the chapter. That's all I said. Standard. Anyway, let's bring this geezer on. Welcome to the arena.
Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yep. Sorry, I have a bit difficulty hearing you guys.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah. So Hamza told me a few days ago that I should come to the arena, so I thought, let's just do that.
Let's do it. What I said very clearly was bring whatever pathetic point you've got to the arena, and we'll just deal with it.
Why do you have to be so hostile?
We just set the standard, man, because it's gonna be a pathetic point, isn't it? Most of your points are kind of pathetic, so I'm just setting the standard. So nobody gets excited about some profound points, gonna make everybody think and ponder, think, I've never heard that before. We know exactly what's coming.
What do you know about my points? Okay, here is the issue. The problem that I have with you guys and with Muslim apologists in general is that what I see is that you guys often don't want to directly talk about certain Islamic teachings and foundations, but rather want to talk about general theism, for example.
Apostate Prophet, just so you understand, the format of the arena is very simple. Come and make your point. Come and ask your question. Don't start bleating about what's happened in the past or what happens when you encounter Muslims or what they do and what they don't do. Just make your point, please.
Your sound is very distorted. Is that just for me or what is?
I think it's just for you.
No, yeah, I heard him well.
Okay, I have no idea what he did.
So,
okay, I'll say it again to you. Don't come on bleating about what happened in the past with other people or what experience you've had with other Muslims. Just come make your point, man. Make your question, make your point. Don't tell us what we don't do. Just make your point.
I'm sorry. I just...
Whoops. Where do you go? I think he's got bad connection.
Yeah, his phones are not too good.
I'm gutted, man. I was looking forward to such a profound question.
Well, I mean, we can
pretty sure I've never heard
fine.
before.
You know, the first thing I wanted to mention is, like, I think that, you know, that first generalization itself is just absurd. I mean, I have written extensively on matters pertaining to Sharia. I've written extensively on Hadith. I've written about Aisha's marriage to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I've written about scientism. I've written about scientific interpretation of the Quran. I've written about jihad. I've written about the caliphate. I've made videos refuting everyone on these things. I mean, what are you talking about? Are you talking about theism? Like what?
There's countless channels that do this as well, so it's not like...
Yeah.
And to come on and start saying, "Oh, you Muslims always do this and do that," it's just so disingenuous, man. I hate it. I hate that. Just come make a point. You're right. Forget whatever's happened before. You're in the arena. Welcome. What's your question? If we ignore your question, avoid your question, this, that, the other, then you can bleat about us. But all right, BlackJesusMinister, you're up.
Oh no, Black Jesus!
Yeah, just for you.
Surprise!
Greetings, how y'all doing? Greetings to every one of you. How y'all feel?
All good, man. All good.
Black Jesus.
I need more caffeine.
My man, Khalil.
Welcome to the arena, Black Jesus.
Greetings to each and every one of you. My name is Brother BlackJesusMinister. George LeBlanc is my legal name. I don't hide who I am. My name is clearly on my Facebook account. I reside in Houston.
Would you like us to call you Black Jesus, or
should we just call you George?
George.
I like a Black Jesus.
For introduction purposes, let's do BlackJesusMinister. But you can shorten it to Black Jesus, all right?
Can I call you George?
All right. No, let's stick with Black Jesus or BlackJesusMinister for today.
Okay.
I love George.
Is that all right?
Excuse
me, I'm asking you very kindly, please refer to me as Black Jesus or BlackJesusMinister. Is that understood?
All right.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Okay, go on.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. I reside in Houston, Texas. I am primarily and foundationally a Christian. But as a Christian, I bring profound correction and understanding to the Christian community and the worldwide Christian community. For example, what I have shared with many of my Muslim brothers and sisters, and yes, I said Muslim brothers and sisters, because as a Christian who has been given profound understanding of the scriptures, I have come to the conclusion that the unity of all of our Abrahamic faiths, so-called Abrahamic faiths, are at hand if we clearly interpret the scriptures and walk away from the traditions of men that have been taught in all of our traditions. And I am begging and asking all Israelites, all Muslims, all Christians to be bold in their faith, not men, not in their religion, not in the traditions of men, and to admit that there are errors and there are mistakes within our traditions that we have attached to our religion. And when we move away and push away those impediments, all right, then unity is definitely at hand. And I consider myself not only to be a Christian, but I am a Muslim who strives daily to submit to the will of God. And I am an Israelite. and I am a Christian who strives daily to be called God's anointed. And God is not only the God of the Israelites, of the Christians and the Muslims, but I have no problem on calling God's name, Muslim name, Allah. I pray to Allah all the time. I pray to his name before
Jesus,
that.
Jesus.
I pray to his name before that as well.
Jesus. All right. Okay. Welcome. Thank you for introducing yourself. All right. What's your point?
Do you mind if I ask you a question?
What is my point?
Oh, the way there. Sorry.
My point
One second. Oh my God, it's like winding up a bloody record player.
No, I think there's a bit of a lag.
Your question.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a lag. So, Black Jesus, do you mind if I ask you, are you coming from a particular, like, because you said some things there which just raised a lot of questions, basically. So you say you're a Muslim and you're a Christian and you're an Israelite. So do you believe in the Trinity, for one? And if you do you follow a particular Christian denomination, or do you consider yourself like sort of approaching Christianity independently?
I am actually bringing Christianity back. I would call myself an Arius or Arian Christian. Arius argued with Athanasius at the councils of Nicaea, which was an ongoing issue regarding the divinity of Jesus. Was Jesus God, or was Jesus just the Son of God? Arius argued that Jesus was the Son of God. He lost that argument and ultimately got slapped by Athanasius and lost his life based on that principle. And I support that principle, that Christians, the majority of Christians worldwide, have followed the Athanasius paradigm and believed in Jesus, the Trinity, as being one God. That is false. I do not teach that, and that is one of the major corrections that I bring to the Christian community, that Jesus is not God and is not supposed to be worshipped as God. He is the Son of God only, and a creation of God. And so I would call myself an Arian Christian on that point.
And would you be Unitarian in that sense then as well? So what are your beliefs with regards to the Holy Spirit?
There's definitely a difference there, but again, I do believe in God the Father, who is Allah. I believe in the Son, that Jesus, Isa, Yeshua is his son. All right. And I believe that the Holy Spirit is God's daughter. Now, Christians who hear me say that, they will go Fruit Loops when they hear me say what I'm saying to you guys right now. But this is the battle that I have been dealing with for much of my life, and I will continue that. And I've been making progress in changing the minds of Christians to understand that the Trinity is three separate individuals and that they're not one God.
BJ, I have a question. All right. You and I spoke before about this, right? And I find it always ambiguous when it comes to Jesus. Now you say he's Son of God. Do you mean he's Son of God as David is referred to as Son of God in the Bible? As Adam is Son of God? Or is it something special?
When I say Son of God, and I say in the scripture says children of God, all throughout the scriptures, God refers to mankind as his children, and likewise, angels are called the sons of God as well. So when I say that, and when the scripture says that, it simply means that God's creations, who was created in his image and his likeness, that we are his children because he created us. Not that God had a wife and had children.
Right. Got it. All right. So basically, you see him as other prophets. He's a human being, just like David, Adam, everybody else.
So his being a son. His being a son is the same as we being a son, by your definition.
Okay. All right. So
okay. I have two questions coming at me. Can somebody clarify that question, please? One person.
Sorry, there's a bit of a lag. Yeah. So basically, when you say that Jesus is the Son of God, do you use that term, Son of God, in the same way that you would say that we are children of God, or like I am a son of God, or you are a son of God by your own definition?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Absolutely. And why? Because I believe, and I can prove in Scripture, in the biblical Scriptures, that Jesus was created, and many times Jesus referred to God as his God and as his maker. So, but yet and still, But angels are not equal to mankind, and we were all created by God, angels and mankind. And Jesus is not equal to mankind. Their origins were different from ours. Their origins is more divine and more heavenly, and Jesus is divine, as proclaimed by the Bible and the Quran, which says that his birth was of a virgin birth.
BJ, what's the difference?
What is the difference between what, sir?
You said that the created Jesus was created differently to us, more divinely or something. What does that mean?
Yes, every one of us who are human beings, for the exception of Adam and Eve, we all have an earthly mother and father. Adam and Eve are the only exception. And then the other exception to that, I'm almost finished, and the other exception to that is Jesus, Black Jesus, Isa Yeshua, and the Quran says that he was born of a virgin and without a father, that he was born by the Spirit and power of God.
So when you say,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, how do you reconcile? Because you claim to be a Muslim, so how do you reconcile the Quranic narration on this subject? I mean, for example, we have two ayahs from the Quran, 17:111, which says, and say praise to Allah who has not taken a son and has no partner. And then there's another one that states he has no daughters, and that is Surah 16:57. And they attribute to Allah daughters exalted is he, and for them is what they desire. But this is not the case. So I'm wondering, how do you reconcile these passages in the Quran with your statements, your sentiments regarding sons and daughters?
Be my thing as well. I was going to ask that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
May I respond? May I respond?
Yes, you may.
Well, that's genuinely what you did to a question.
Thank you. Excuse me?
It was a question, so of course you respond.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right. Again, in reference to the fact that I am a Christian, and I recognize that there is false doctrines and traditions in Christianity, does not stop me from being a Christian. I believe in the foundational truths of Christianity. I have issues with the traditions of men that has been brought into Christianity, and I am bold enough to bring about correction to the Christian community, such as the false understanding of the Trinity.
BJ.
Yes, the Bible, the King James Bible. I'm almost finished, sir.
Just one second.
Okay, but
do you believe Jesus died?
Okay, but you're asking me another question before I finish my first question.
No, because I'm just establishing this idea what Asadullah is trying to dig into this reconciling the two beliefs.
Okay, but please, can I finish my thought on this question? May I do that?
But you've already not made sense.
I'm going to make it short.
No, we've already not made
it short, sir. Sir, well, I'm sorry. Maybe you're the one who can understand. I believe the others are smart enough to understand what I'm saying.
You just done. I'll explain what you just
done. Sir, but if you let me finish, if you allow me to finish, maybe understanding will come to you.
BJ,
sir, excuse me, sir, hold on for a minute, man. Bro, if you let me finish, sir, maybe you will have understanding. Okay, so give me about 30 more seconds to finish, sir.
Your start's already false. Your start is already false.
Sir, excuse me, man. I don't give a damn about your conclusion, sir. If you ask me a question, you ought to have enough common sense to be quiet until I finish, right?
You're building on a false premise, man.
Sir, I'm not going to sit up here and interrupt. Sir, excuse me, brother. Just because I'm your guest doesn't mean you're going to be able to kick me around like a dumb can, bro. If you ask me a question, I'm a grown man, and I may be older than you, sir.
BJ, calm down.
Calm down, sir. Sir, no, don't play the race card, bro.
Let's have a conversation.
Sir, hold on for a second, bro.
Let's have a conversation.
Don't get racial, brother. Excuse me for a second, bro. If I'm talking straight, I'm not calling nobody out of their name, and I'm asking for the privilege to finish answering your question, and then you're going to tell me to calm down, brother. I'm not talking loud. I do have a heavy voice, and I haven't called anybody out of their name. So let's not play the race card and say calm down and behave.
All right, BJ. Okay. I'll let you finish your answer, then we'll rinse it. So carry on.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. So again, sir, likewise, because I bring correction to Christians and I still remain a Christian, I am likewise a Muslim and I will bring correction to Muslims. For example, sir,
you're not answering the question.
Say that there are no. Sir, I'm getting there, sir. For example, sir, you all say that the Quran has no errors. I'm almost
just one
done.
second, just one second,
And that
just
is
one
false.
second, BJ. I'm just going to mute you a second. Just 1 second. Okay. I don't know why you've gone back into Wikipedia mode. Okay. Asadullah asked you a clear question. How do you reconcile saying you're Muslim and the doctrines of Islam and you're Christian, where the doctrines of Christianity can't be reconciled with the doctrines of Islam? So that's what you're supposed to be responding to. And you seem to be not responding to it. So please, it's a very simple question Asadullah asked. How can you claim to believe in the doctrines of Islam and Christianity when they're not reconcilable? It's a simple question. Sorry, I'm muted now.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yes, you're muted. Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
All right. Yes, sir. Your false premise is that you are correct and that the Quran is correct and that the Quran has no errors. And what I'm telling you is, sir, is that you are incorrect and that the Quran has errors. And I will teach you the errors that are in the Quran. Sir, you're cutting me off again, sir. You're running around with the supposition that the Quran and Islam is totally 100% correct. And
that's you said you believe in it. But you said you're a Muslim.
Sir, I believe in Islam and I believe in bringing correction to Islam. You don't. I do. And there are errors in Islam that I can share with you. Number one.
All right. Let's do this with him. All right. Listen. You clearly got beef with Islam. Your Christianity, your beliefs is utter nonsense. I'll be honest with you. Right. So what you need to do is bring your beef to Islam. Yeah, bring your beef to Islam. Tell us where Islam is wrong and why.
Yes, sir. I will share one major error in the Quran, and there are minor errors in the Bible in the King James Version, which I prefer. But the major error that's in the Quran that says that Noah's Ark landed on Mount Judi, Judi, in Surah 11 and 44.
One second. Surah what?
Wow.
Surah 11. What did you say?
Surah 11 and 44.
All right, okay, one second. So the ark sailed with them through the waves like mountains. Noah called out to his son and stood apart. "Oh, my dear son, come aboard with us and do not be with the disbelievers." He replied, "I'll take refuge on a mountain which will protect me from the water." Noah cried out today, "No one is protected from God's decree, Allah's decree, except those to whom he shows mercy." And the waves came between them, and his son was among drowned. And it was said, "O earth, swallow up the water, and sky, withhold your rain." And the flood water receded, and the decree was carried out. The ark rested on Mount Judi, and it was said, "Away with the wrongdoing people." Okay, so in the Quran, it says the ark rested on Mount Judi. Okay, what's your contention?
The truth is, and not a contention, that the Bible is correct and the Quran is in error, that Noah's Ark landed on Mount Ararat, as it is identified in Genesis in the Old Testament, and the government of Turkey, where both of those mountain ranges exist, Mount Judi, and Mount Ararat, the Muslim Quran government of Turkey has found Noah's Ark on Mount Ararat, and they built a museum and observatory on Mount Ararat and consecrated it with a sacrificial goat. And so Muslims have confirmed that the Bible is correct and the Quran is wrong. So my Muslim brothers and sisters, you must from now on never say that there are no errors in the Quran, and accept that there are additional errors that I can show you at a later time.
Okay.
And that is why
Thank you.
When you say to me that I cannot be a Muslim because it conflicts with some false doctrine in Islam and so forth.
BJ, all you needed to do was come on and say that you Muslims make the claim the Quran's not errors, and I found an error in the Quran, and here's where it is. In this surah, it says that. We didn't need all this pantomime performance that you came on with and all this preaching. Just come with that. All right.
Sir, excuse me, man. I'm sitting up here answering questions whenever you prompt me to do so. So, sir, if you're going to continue with these little cuts, you know what I'm saying? Then I'm going to have to cut you back, man. I'm going to be respectful as long as you're respectful.
Let's have
sir.
it.
If you're not going to be respectful, then I'm going to give you what you give me.
If you want to make it a brawl,
sir, I'm going to give you what you give me, sir, and you better know that.
Happy. I like that. Speaker's corner, bring it on. No worries.
All right. Now, the little sly remarks there, I'm going to ask you to kindly refrain from the sly remarks.
Black Jesus.
I'll say what I like, mate.
Black Jesus. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Okay, so you made your point. Okay, now back to the original question. You claim to be a Muslim, and the fundamental question here for you is, do you believe that Jesus died for your sins? Now, we'll let you speak. We'll let you let it out.
I do believe that Jesus died for our sins. Yes, sir.
Okay, so Muslims don't believe that. How do you call yourself Muslim? We don't believe that.
Well, that's fine, sir. The Muslims have error, and many Muslims are becoming Christians as we speak, sir. Many Muslims have walked away.
Let's step out of time.
Wait for a minute, brother. Hold on. I'm almost, brother. I'm responding to you. Brother.
No.
I cannot talk to you
BJ,
guys and have a straight conversation when relax. I'm answering your response or your question, and then you keep over talking me and asking me another question before I finish, brother.
1 second.
Please don't do that to me, man.
Just 1 second. Relax. The question was about the crucifixion. I'm not asking you about the percentage of Muslims that become Christians. That's a different topic. I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you a straight question. You said that you believe that Jesus died for you. I'm telling you that Muslims don't believe that. And the actual question for you now is that Christians claim that Jesus is divine, and it takes a divine entity to be killed for you to be saved. Now, you don't believe Jesus is divine. You believe he's human. Explain to us, how does a human sacrifice suddenly help you attain salvation?
All right, sir. Again, first of all, I do believe that Jesus is divine, and the Quran and true Muslims believe that Jesus is divine, because the Quran states, sir, multiple times that Jesus was not born of a man, that he was born of the Spirit of God.
Define
and
divine.
I shouldn't have to repeat that 1,000 times. So
Define
that makes
divine.
him exceptional. Sir, excuse me.
What is divine?
You can argue with me all you want, brother, sir.
We just want to understand what you're
argue
saying.
with me all you want, sir. So you're not going to you're going to keep interrupting me when you just gave me the floor, right?
It's a conversation.
Sir, but no, a conversation is not you interrupting me when you give me the floor to speak, sir. What's wrong with you guys, man?
I don't understand what you mean by divine.
Sir, do you understand? Wait till I finish talking, bro, when you ask me a question.
Just one second, Khalil. BJ, relax a sec. Right, I can see what you want to do, Khalil. Okay, but I think it's only fair we respond to his accusation against the Quran. Because what's going to happen, he's made a claim that the Quran says Mount Judy, the Bible says Mount Ararat, and Turkey have built some kind of shrine on Mount Ararat, which they sacrifice a goat to. Now, if we don't address that claim, people are going to think that we can't respond to it and the Quran doesn't, because that's his accusation. The Quran has an error. Yeah. Forget his nonsense belief. We all know it's nonsense. So forget that. There's no point even trying. You're muted, mate, so don't even bother wasting your breath. All right. It's nonsense. It's clearly nonsense. You know, we know it's not. And we're not going to waste our time digging into every single portion of it because he can't defend it. It's indefensible. But what I think was very pertinent was the point he made. So he came on here to attack the Quran. He came on here to say the Quran has error. He actually went as far to say that Muslims cannot now say there's no errors in the Quran because Mr. Nobel Prize winner here, BJ, has found the error that now all the Christian little flag wavers, Apostate Prophet probably have a field day with it, and everyone's all excited that he's made this massive discovery. I mean, I've already seen he's already made an error with his quote from Genesis, but not worried about that. So this is his claim. The Quran is in error because of the mountain it mentions in the Quran as to where the ark rested. He truly believes its resting place has been discovered empirically, and it's as the Bible confirms, on Mount Ararat. And if this is the case, it's on the Quran's got it on the wrong mountain, and the Bible's got it on the right mountain. This is the contention I believe we should isolate and just deal with, and then we know it's just another part of his nonsense. Fair enough. So, would anyone like to have a tackle of that? All right, you're unmuted now, but don't talk. BJ, I've unmuted you. Relax. I've isolated your question. I don't want it to look like we're avoiding your question. Let's deal with your question. All right. Your claim. Right.
Well, I'm just. I mean, I heard the contention, and then I just want to. I'm trying to find the references for a lot of these things, and
yeah, same.
I've only been able to find one news report so far from NBC News in 2010, April 27th, and the expedition was done by a Hong Kong ministry, which already kind of reeks of a little bit of bias, but of course that doesn't mean it's not true. But I read through it, and there are a number of scientists who are also denying its existence, and there was a mention here of the Turkish government trying to established as an archaeological site, but I haven't found anything here regarding sacrifices or even or anything else of the sort. So I would like to know if there's any other reference you could share with me that I could actually read that. I appreciate it. So
also, what's the name of the museum that you're talking about in Turkey? What's the name of the museum?
Yeah, it's called, can you hear me, guys? Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes, Rob,
it's called, you can go to YouTube and see it. It's called Noah's Ark Park, Turkey. Noah's Ark Park, Turkey. And you all can call the Turkish government or consulate in your country to verify that there is a museum and observatory that is built right above the petrified remains of the ship that was verified by scientists all over the world and the scientists of Turkey. And the site was protected for 10 years and is still protected by the military as a holy site in Turkey. So the Quranic Muslim government of Turkey and their scientists, because Turkey is a nuclear power, it is not a poor third world nation. They are a powerhouse nation with scientists of their own, universities of their own, and militaries of their own, and a nuclear arsenal.
That's all unnecessary, that they're nuclear power. That's not the point. What you need to tell us now.
No, it is necessary. For those who don't know. It's necessary for those who don't know,
Where does the Bible
sir.
say?
Where
does the Bible say?
It's an unnecessary rhetorical.
I mean,
Yeah,
look,
where does the Bible say that the ark is on Mount Ararat?
I believe it. I believe it's Genesis 8. Y'all, somebody maybe help me out.
Read it incorrectly.
Right now.
I think you've read it incorrectly. You've read it incorrectly.
Okay, well then correct me. If it's not there, then you read it. What does it say?
It says the mountains of Ararat. So it could be
well,
anywhere
that's
in the
what I
region.
said, sir. So what do you mean?
No, you didn't. You said Mount
No.
Ararat.
Because the mountains of Ararat would be
Sir,
a region.
the mountains of Ararat, sir. So what's the difference, man?
Well, Mount
Because
Ararat
the mountains
is a volcano.
Yeah, so you've got the Mount Ararat, which the Mount Ararat would be a very particular mountain. The mountains of Ararat would be a region of mountains.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Again, the Bible says the mountain. Excuse me. The Bible says the mountains of Ararat. Okay.
Plural.
And why? Hold on, sir. Hold on. It says the mountains with a plural S of Ararat because it's a mountain range. All right. And Judah is also a mountain range. It's not one mountain. It's a series of mountains, and it's called a mountain range. And there's approximately 300 to 400 miles separation between the Ararat mountain range and the Judah mountain range. And no Noah's Ark has been found on Judah, which is 300 or 400 miles away from Mount Ararat. So the Bible is correct, sir. 100% correct, confirmed by a Muslim nation who believes in the Quran.
No, it's not. Because it's not saying.
Sir. Okay, hold on, sir. Hold on. So are you telling me that there's not an observatory and a museum that Turkey built there? It's not there?
Oh, okay. First thing, I don't know why you keep banging on about Turkey.
Okay, my point is it's there.
All right. First thing. Second thing. the Bible doesn't say Mount Ararat.
Dude,
it doesn't say Mount Ararat.
You're still playing
so why
games,
would you build
bro.
a museum on Mount
It says
Ararat?
mountains of Ararat, sir.
No, it doesn't.
It says
The Bible says
Ararat,
mountains
sir.
of. Look. The Bible says mountains of Ararat, not Mount Ararat. Do you understand the difference?
Sir, I understand the difference, but why don't you understand the difference? It says mountains of Ararat. Sir, excuse me. If it says, sir, excuse me.
So just so I understand.
The difference is, okay, the difference is, here's the difference.
No, sir, just so I understand, you're saying Turkey have built a museum on a dormant volcano. Is that the flag? Is that what we're going with here? Is that what we're saying?
Do you mind if I jump in here as well? So I'm
yeah, go on.
Because you were talking about scientists worldwide, this, that, and the other. So I'm reading a National Geographic article now, and it's giving numbers of reasons why they're skeptical that this is Noah's Ark. One of them is that the wood is too young. Second, the whole notion. So another reason scholars are skeptical of the latest quote-unquote Noah's Ark discovery claim is that Genesis, the first book of the Bible, never specifies which peak the vessel supposedly landed on in Turkey. The whole notion is odd because the Bible tells you the ark landed somewhere in. Are you gonna let me talk? You've been complaining about people interrupting. Because the Bible tells you the ark landed somewhere in Urartu, an ancient kingdom in eastern Turkey. But it's only later that people identified Mount Ararat with Urartu, said Jack Sasson, a professor of Jewish and biblical studies at Vanderbilt University in Tennessee. Stonebrooks Zemanski agreed. Nobody associated that mountain with the Ark until the 10th century BC. He said, adding that there's no geological evidence for a mass flood in Turkey around 4,000 years ago. Noah's flood not only rooted in reality after all. So the Noah's Ark Ministry International Explorers are playing in a very different ballpark than the rest of us. That being the scientific community, Zemanski said. They're playing without any concern for the archaeological, historical, and geological records. So you've made the claim that this is something all the scientific community is like jumped on, and they're all like, yeah, this is it. They found it. And that's not the case. This is National Geographic. This is like one of the biggest magazines to do with.
All right, may I respond to what you said, sir?
Yes,
may I respond, sir? The National Geographic is just a national nature magazine, sir. It is not an academic journal. It is not a scientific journal magazine. Okay. Now again,
right, so give us a scientific
brother, hold on for a minute. Brother, can I finish talking, bro? Sir, why do you guys continue to interrupt me when you give me the floor?
Mute him for a second.
Why, brother?
Right, it's incredibly frustrating. Right, he's muted. You muted, George.
Yeah, I know.
Black Jesus. So basically,
I'm incredibly frustrated as well at this point because I don't quite understand now. You're asking for academic evidence when you just pointed me to a YouTube video, bro. Like, what are you talking about? I'm an academic.
Bro.
The first thing that happened was my eyes went to the back of my head because of that.
Sir, if you're going to cancel, hold on, sir. If you're going to cancel a YouTube video, then you need to cancel any information. Sir, man, what is
you spend most of your time whinging about
you
us
guys are
interrupting
pitiful,
you.
Man.
You go on these tangents.
Sir, okay, well, be quiet when I'm talking right now, sir.
No, you be quiet.
Hamza, please mute him for a second. Please
honestly, listen. You spend most of your time complaining about being interrupted.
Bro, you guys
keep going on these tangents.
Stop.
You keep going on tangents. We're trying to keep
you're right. No, I'm terrible.
Focus.
I'm terrible.
You guys are cowardly, man.
No.
Academic evidence.
George, if you keep interrupting, I'm going to have to remove you while they talk.
No, dude, right? You guys.
I haven't interrupted you at all.
Stop interrupting.
Except for now, because now I'm tired of your waffling. You understand what that word means?
That's the point. It's
the biggest issue here. Means that you're talking too much without getting to the point. And the point for me is that I want to see academic evidence, not a YouTube video like PewDiePie puts out a YouTube video, or Apostate Prophet puts out a YouTube. Somebody puts out a YouTube video showing this or that, or UFOs. You know, there's a museum at Area 51, bro. I guess they're aliens, bro. Like, you know, seriously, this is not evidence. I want an academic paper. If you cannot supply that to me, you're wasting my time.
And National Geographic is also a lot more reputable than National.
By the way, National Geographic, it might be channel and magazine, but what they do is research. That's what they do.
Yeah, it's a
they interview scientists.
Yeah,
it's more reputable than a YouTube video.
I mean, when you watch their documentaries, they have PhDs in the field. That's what they bring. They don't bring random people making YouTube videos. So this claim, this is something that's similar to like the Petra thing in Mecca, right? Someone who wasted their life collecting weird evidences to make a video against Mecca. It's been debunked already. So now, just because one scholar or two or three get together, right, and collected some evidence to make a point, that doesn't make it some unanimous agreement upon all scholars. No, it's not. That's number one. Number two, the name. We know historically names are different. This is similar to kind of Isaiah 42. I can't help but think about it since I had a debate with him about the word Salah, the mountain, right? We know it's in Medina, but there are other places where the word Salah is mentioned too. And missionaries tell us, for example, oh no, this is Salah in Jordan. This is Salah in Sweden. This is Salah in there. But in reality, you have to go back to the time. What was it called at the time? Kind of like Mecca, Becca, and different names. So show us evidence that 1400 years ago, the name was Ararat, was not Judy. You don't have that. This is why it's not agreed upon all scholars. This is one opinion. That's what I want to say.
All right, now you can speak, BJ. George, behave yourself.
Brother, if I hear you say behave myself one more time, I'm going to say something very ugly about your ugly ass beard. You hear me?
Oh,
okay? Because you have
yourself.
See you later. What a muppet.
I'm trying to.
No.
I said nothing the entire time. I simply asked questions, and I understand his frustration with being interrupted. But the thing is, for me, it's like, look, I need you also to get to the point because you're saying here's the evidence. I'm asking for a reference. When I ask for a reference, I want something that's credible. Yes, I'm going to dismiss a YouTube video. If you're still listening to this, brother, I'm going to dismiss a YouTube video, just like I dismiss all YouTube videos that have no academic references in them. Right? I am an academic. I expect higher standards of people. And no wonder you're a Christian and a Muslim and everything else in between, because you probably only listen to YouTube videos, like all the flat earthers and all the other conspiracy theory nut jobs out there who don't actually read anything beyond a meme or watching a 15-minute YouTube video. Look at Turkey. Look what they're doing in museums there. And it's, it's like, dude, have you even bothered to look this stuff up? Because even as Brother Yusuf pointed out, there are several scientists who disagree with these findings to begin with. So even if let's admit that the Turkish government did all this stuff you said, how does that disprove the Quran? Oh, Turkey represents every Muslim in the world now. Oh my God. Is that really what you're trying to get across? I could do the same thing with you and all of your beliefs. I'll find a representative somewhere random in the world that agrees with my assessments of your religion, and then suddenly we'll just dismiss everything you have to say. How does that sound? It's illogical. It's fallacious. It's just ridiculous. I don't even know why we wasted so much time listening to this nonsense.
Well, this is the thing as well, because we wanted...
Your mic is a little bit low, Asadullah.
You need to turn your gain up, I think. But so the point is that
you're boasting about the Yeti mics, and then you're like utilizing it like Khalil's got his. Look, I got my headphones, and I sound louder than you.
Bro, I swear, man, bro.
Can you not hear me?
Oh,
I'm trying. Yeah, go.
Yeah,
you can hear me.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm just.
So
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
So one of the biggest issues is that he did a lot of rambling. He went on a lot of tangents, and he spent more time complaining about being interrupted when we were trying to keep him on track. And he made claims, and he's not substantiating them with anything other than, say, the YouTube clip. He thinks that's acceptable. I point out National Geographic, which is a reputable magazine. It's not
National magazine, bro.
I know. It's not like I'm quoting bloody.
Yeah, well, Turkey is just a nation. So what's your point?
But I'm not even referencing something like Tiny Power or a Cartoon Network magazine or something. It's like bloody some TV show on some it's a magazine, and they're quoting scientists and archaeologists that specialize in this particular thing. It's not talking about Dave round the corner. He went for a walk with his dog and he bumped into something. It's completely different. And so when we're asking you to just focus on this, because you made the claim that the scientific community worldwide is on this, and you bigged it up, man. You made it sound like everyone is on it apart from us here now on the show.
You're muted. You're muted.
You muted.
Well, I muted.
I could find absolutely. I looked in the academic. I went to JSTOR. I went to all the academic. I could not find anything other than skepticism from the scientific community. I could find
because
nothing
that's all
that
there is.
confirms it. There was no
Skepticism on this.
ijma from the scientific community on this at all.
Which he made the specific claim that there was. So that was not, and rather than we were pointing that out, and that was really important because that was a very particular part of his claim. And instead of addressing that, he spent most of his time talking to us, just getting all uppity about us sort of jumping. But this is a conversation. He was doing the same to us.
It pisses me off too. Excuse me, I'm gonna be frank, because as an American myself,
Asadullah's all hyped up, man.
I'm gonna be frank with you, but the whole thing, like, look, I'm getting sick of this. Okay, look, and I get it. There's a lot of stuff. Look, I get it. There's a lot of racial injustice here in the United States, but stop interpreting every damn little thing as being racist, or you're trying to tell me to behave because I'm a brother, or blah blah blah. No. That wasn't the issue.
Yeah, that was a really weird.
You were having hypertension.
Welcome to England.
I'm sorry. No, that's not how it is. We're all minorities here. Okay.
Just a quick one. So just to clarify, where he was banging on about this particular mountain and what region, how far, what Yusuf basically said is, well, whatever they found or whatever mountain they found it isn't what you think it is. So the whole point is moot.
Yeah. And that was his major issue. The major problem with it.
Yeah, that was it. Because I don't know why he was trying to analyze why he's a Christian, because that would just waffled off in every direction. So I thought it was good we dealt with his nonsense. Anyway, talking of nonsense. Hey, Apostate Prof is back.
I need to drink my tea.
You're
muted.
Oh, he's in his office now. He's got his own flex behind him.
I'm sorry, I dropped earlier. I have no idea what happened. I was on my phone. I dropped. I don't know.
StreamYard doesn't agree too well with phones. It's a bit.
Yeah, it doesn't work very well. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah.
So, I didn't normally want to come on the show. I decided that I should maybe just drop by because Hamza said I could come and present my arguments or talk to you guys, and he was saying that I'm just disrespectful and all that, and I thought, hey, why not just sit down and have a respectful discussion about things and present actual problems with Islam and why I have problems with Islam and so on. So I want to say that I find it personally a big waste of time to discuss theism and to discuss specific moral arguments, the societal expectations and problems and all that. I have my major issues. I always have had my major issues with Islam when it comes to Islam's scientific claims, logical claims, the historicity, how Islam integrates past religious beliefs and elements, and how it, in my opinion, corrupts them. For example, one of the major issues that I have is the Kaaba. And I would like you guys, I know that we don't have enough time to discuss that fully. I will have to go very soon. Sometime I have to deal with my children. But I have a major issue with the Kaaba because the Kaaba is at the center, at the core of Islam, of Islamic belief. According to the Quran, the Kaaba was the first house that was built for Allah. And it is right there at the center in the mother of cities, Mecca. And according to the Quran, again, Allah gave Abraham and his son the mission, Ishmael, the mission to establish the Kaaba for him, and then to set its final stone, and then to go out into the world and to tell the people to come to the Kaaba and to visit it and to circumambulate it and so on. So when you look at the Islamic narrative, what you see is that the Kaaba is a hugely significant thing, right at the core of Islam. I mean, everyone knows that it is right there at the core of Islam. The narrative is that Abraham himself was given the Kaaba and he was given the mission to spread the word about it. Yet when we look at the history of the Kaaba, we see that the Kaaba is not found in history. Christians and Jews, who were the people who ran with the Abrahamic tradition and history, had no idea what a Kaaba is until Islam came forth in the 7th century and started, becoming relevant in the world. So how do you guys exactly explain that, for example? Is that a discussion that you guys have? How does that exactly work? To me, it seems that... To me, it seems that the Kaaba is simply...
Why does it bother you?
Well, because to me, it seems that the Kaaba is a pre-Islamic pagan
why does it
Arab...
bother you? You're not a Muslim, so you don't have to believe it. Why does it bother you?
Well, because it proves Islam wrong.
How does it prove Islam wrong?
Because the Kaaba is, as it seems, a pre-Islamic Arab pagan element, which Muhammad simply incorporated into the Islamic religion. It has nothing to do with Abrahamic religion.
Can you prove that?
Well, you can you? I mean, it is very reasonable to come to the conclusion that it has no connection.
Well, no, you're making the
Abrahamic
claim.
religion.
Can you prove it?
I can prove that it has no connection to Abrahamic religion.
Go on, then. Prove it.
Yeah, I can prove it. Here,
on,
it takes no place within the Abrahamic biblical scripture. It has no connection. It is not within the knowledge of Jews and Christians prior to Islam. There is the proof.
Well, no, that's not proof. That's an ad ignorantium fallacy.
That's an ad
ignorantium fallacy. That's not proof. That's an ad ignorantium.
Okay, how about you explain?
Well, no, you made the claim, mate.
Okay, I leave it to you. How do you explain it?
No. You made the claim.
Well, I would explain it. Because, well, you can let
but Hamza, I asked.
No, the answer, but no way. Look. You made a claim. You brought your proof. Asadullah told you that's not proof. So have you got anything else?
Okay, I asked you the question, right? I mean, that was the initial thing that I did. I asked you the question. So the Kaaba is at the center of Islamic belief, and it makes certain claims about the Kaaba. But those claims, when you look at it, cannot be proven, cannot be properly verified. And yet the Kaaba is at the foundation of Islam. How do you explain that big lack of information, of evidence? How do you explain this huge gap between the Islamic Kaaba and Abrahamic religion, when Abrahamic religion evidently has nothing to do with the Kaaba?
What do you think the religion of Abraham was?
It's not rather. I mean, how is it relevant to the issue? How can you explain the thing?
You're acting like Islam was invented in the 7th century.
Well, my question would be this: if you want to really go down that route, is why would the son of a slave woman be important to the Jews? Why would something established by the son of a slave woman be important to the Jewish tradition and the Christian tradition?
That's not the point, though. I mean,
because that's where the Arabs come from.
But it is Abraham himself. It is Abraham himself, isn't it? That who is given the task to establish this, according to the Islamic narrative. And it is Abraham and his son who spread this whole thing to the world. And this is what Allah wants from humanity. But as you can see, for thousands of years, nobody even regarded the Kaaba as something important. Nobody even knew about the Kaaba until Islam came forth.
Again,
how does that make sense?
That's pointless to even bring up. I mean, it's a fallacious reasoning. It's just,
how is it fallacious?
I mean, it's an ad ignorantium fallacy. It's absence of evidence is evidence. It's not evidence of absence.
I mean, look. Even if we're not,
look, Ridwan, it's nothing to laugh at. That's a fallacious argument. That means that you're wrong.
It's not a fallacious argument. What is
it is.
I mean, it is a major claim that Islam makes about
Ridwan,
history of religion.
And yet
you see that
Ridwan, let me just clarify a point that Asadullah just made. Do you believe absence of evidence is evidence of absence?
No, in the case of Islam, when it makes such a big claim, however,
as a principle.
Okay, can you please let me speak? In the case of Islam, when it makes such a big claim, which concerns the entire foundation of the Islamic faith, but this claim cannot be verified, and we have a lot of evidence to the contrary, such as that Abrahamic religion had no connection prior to Islam with the Kaaba, then I would accept that we have reasonable evidence to believe that the Islamic claim is false.
What you have is, even within the Islamic narrative, we have this understanding that the pagans changed everything at the Kaaba,
right,
and made it a polytheistic place of worship.
Can you prove that?
So let me comment on that, if you don't mind. After you Yusuf, let finish your point.
No, it's gone.
No, I was gonna say exactly your point. Islam never makes the claim that it's been a house of monotheism since Abraham until Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We never make that claim. It is clear during Fath Mecca, right, the conquest of Mecca, or the entry of Mecca, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam went in and destroyed all the idols. So we're telling you, you know this information because of us. We're telling you there was house of idols. So obviously, for a long period of time, it was switched from monotheism to pagan belief and have idols. Now, if we entertained your question, right? Although the brothers already demonstrated that it's not really logical, okay? Because of your premise. But if we entertained it, you said Christians and Jews don't know about it. That's not true. Just because they don't believe it, for whatever reason, because otherwise they have to accept Islam, right? It doesn't mean it's not there. You know, the Bible, Psalm 84, talks about a valley of Becca, where there is a temple called Beit El, house of God, right? Where it is outside of Jerusalem, not in Jerusalem area. Now, throughout history, the Kaaba has been the only place of a house of worship that is outside Jerusalem. Now, some people try to say, oh, it has to do with the Temple of Solomon. Huge mistake, because Solomon is the son of David. This was a psalm by David, and at the time there was no temple of Jerusalem, no temple of Solomon. So the only place that was the worship of God, Beit El, is the Kaaba, and we have clear demonstration that David at the time was running from I don't know whether you know the history of whose Saul is and these people. He ran away from the king at the time, and he stayed there for a while. So when he came back, he wrote a psalm about how much he misses this place where people go in congregation to the house of God. The only place we know on earth that people go in congregation, and the word pilgrimage is mentioned there, by the way, in Psalm 84. The word people go on pilgrimage to a place called the Valley of Becca. Now, we know the name in Mecca is called Becca as well. It's mentioned in the Quran. And the Quran gets it so right, it's the level that when the Quran mentions Mecca prior to Islam, Allah refers to it as Becca. But when Allah talks about Mecca during Islam, time of the Prophet, he calls it Mecca because the name was changed. Now, there are plenty of references where you can find this information. Now we ask, where is this place? It's called the House of God. People go in pilgrimage. That is not Temple of Solomon, and that is a way that David has to come back and visit. So it is there. It's also mentioned in Isaiah 60, where people bring flocks of sheep to the sacrifice in Beit El, House of God. This is prior to the Temple of Solomon.
Okay, so one major issue here is that this is mentioned in the Psalms. It's a popular argumentation that is brought up. I already addressed it before in different talks. The issue here is the Valley of Becca. It says in that same in that same book. It mentions it in context with people going on their way to Zion, which is Jerusalem, which is a place in Jerusalem, at the center of Jerusalem.
That's not what Zion is.
Zion, according to the historical Jewish tradition, is the center of where God's representation of where God's representation on earth is. It could be the tabernacle, it could be the room, and in the end, it was at the center of Jerusalem.
Yeah,
but that's the thing.
It could be the Kaaba.
If it can be more than one thing, the Kaaba can be included in that.
So
you mentioned that it could be two
the issue is you brought up one thing, which is that outside of Jerusalem there is no such place. That is false. According to the Torah, Abraham built more than 4 temples on his path throughout the Middle East, throughout these places.
Including Mecca.
No, we have no record of him going ever down to Mecca. There is no such thing.
Okay, no problem.
Becca is also mentioned within the. Okay, just one moment. Becca is also mentioned within the Bible as a place that is has always known to be referring to a place surrounding Jerusalem. Now, if that one Valley of Becca refers to Mecca, and Jews had that book with them all the time, and this was so praised and sung. The Psalms are not a joke. I mean, the Jews have been singing that forever. Then why did nobody ever know about Mecca? Why did nobody go there?
They did. That's why that's why rabbis have converted to Islam.
No,
including the Samuel. Well, you don't know who these people I'm talking about. Including the Samuel, including even Abdullah ibn Salam, some of the Prophet, and many ones. Just because you don't hear about them, that doesn't mean it's not there. There were books. There is a book called Ifham al-Yahud, Silencing the Jews, written by a Jew who became Muslim. He was a physician, a scholar, and a rabbi. His name is Samuel. All right, wrote a book about this. So there are plenty of evidence out there. Just because you don't have access to them doesn't mean it's not there. Now I'm talking about a sanctuary, a place called House of God, in a place called Becca that is not in Jerusalem, where Dawood had fled, had to run away far from Shaul, from Saul. Now, where is this place that we're asking about? Where is your evidence that this Becca that you're talking about around Jerusalem had a sanctuary? What is this sanctuary called Beit El?
So, let me read the part. I mean, Psalms 84:5. Blessed are those whose strength is in you, whose hearts are set on pilgrimage. As they pass through the valley of Becca, they make it a place of springs. The autumn rains also cover it with pools. That doesn't sound like Mecca at all.
No, that sounds like Zamzam. That sounds like. Wait a second. See, you don't know the difference. Historically, you should know this. There is a well there.
Of course, but that doesn't sound like a place of springs.
When you go to Safa and Marwa, no, listen to me. There's a well there. Right, that's what it's talking about. It's giving you an indication of a place called Becca, right? You know, falsely, a lot of people try to translate it as the valley of weeping, the valley of cry. This is all false because there is a noun. It says ha Becca. There's a definite article ha, which is like ton or ho in Greek, and then Becca. So it's a noun of a place that has a sanctuary. It's been there forever, and there is a well there. You just mentioned it, and a place for pilgrimage. Mecca fits the criteria 100%.
I don't think it fits it at all, to be very honest.
Give me a place.
It fits very many places around Jerusalem.
Name one. Name one.
Geographically, in general, it is geographically much more.
Name a place that fits that criteria.
I don't have to name a place. I'm saying it is the region is.
You do have to name a place.
Okay, listen to me. It is geographically much more suitable to what is being described here than Mecca is. What you are arguing here is that Kaaba or Mecca was addressed here in this Bible verse, in these Bible chapters, and yet people have completely lost the connection to it. We have no connection to the Kaaba at all. If you look at the history of the Kaaba, up until 2 or 3 centuries before Islam, we have no record,
because it turns to house of pagan. Because it turns into house of pagan. We already told you that.
How do you have proof for that?
Because the Prophet Muhammad, when he walked in, he destroyed the idols.
Okay, do you have proof that it was turned into a pagan house by people?
Yes.
No, you don't. Where's the proof?
Listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying to you. We're telling you right now that even the Bible, affirm that Ismail and Hagar went to the wilderness of Paran. Now, every single rabbi, every learned Jew will tell you that Paran is the Hijaz, where Mecca and Medina is. That's true.
That's not true. They will say that the Paran is south of the Israeli borders. It will start up at the east of Egypt down to the Arabian coasts.
Okay, fine. That means Hijaz is included.
Yeah, Hijaz is a very general term. You're talking about Mecca, which is so far away.
Okay, which means logically you can rule out Mecca. Do you agree?
You could consider it as part of possibly as part. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So thank you for being honest about that. At least all I'm saying is you can't exclude it. Now you agree.
Okay, sure. Yeah, fine.
So far, so now we agree. And then the Qadarites grew up there. Qader is the second son of Ishmael, based in Genesis 25. Right? They grew up there. Okay. Now, we know historically, even from Isaiah 60, that it talks about a place where people, the Qadarites, bring all their flocks to the house of God to do sacrifice. Now, today, that the only sanctuary that celebrates the idea of the firstborn of Ibrahim being saved by God, right, via another sacrifice, an animal, on earth, is through Muslims. Where? In Mecca. Christians don't celebrate it. The only people that celebrate it, keep that tradition, are Muslims. Show me a place where the Jews and Christians celebrate this idea of the firstborn being saved. You will not find it. But we do have a place called Mecca. Fits the criteria, has pilgrimage, it is south, and what do you call it? And also, you mentioned the well. So far, all the criteria are there. So denying it will be literally going out of your way.
No,
you want to hear it.
There are a lot of wells throughout Arabia and a lot of wells throughout the Middle East.
Name one well by the house of God in Hijaz.
I don't have a name for a well. We know that there are a lot of.
So why would you make a claim?
Why do you keep saying there's different places and different wells and you've got no evidence, no name?
Because I'm saying.
I'll be honest with you.
Because I'm saying there is a well down there is not proof that this corresponds to that. There are wells everywhere.
Can I be honest with you?
Sure, go ahead.
This is not some ad hominem or anything. But honestly, I thought this is the first time I speak to you. I thought you would be more sophisticated.
I am. I think you're just copying out of this.
No.
Khalil, just because you respond to something, just because you make a refutation, a response, that doesn't mean you have destroyed and the person in front of you is illogical and this and that. I mean, the vast majority of biblical scholars will never agree with the idea that Mecca is Mecca. They will never agree with the idea that Paran is down there. They will never agree with the idea
every single scholar agrees Paran is there.
They will never agree with the idea that.
How about this? On this platform, I'll quote quotations about scholars bring Quran. You bring quotations. Okay. You want to do that?
No. The vast majority of biblical scholars will never. Is this a lie? The vast majority of biblical scholars will never ever agree that Mecca is.
You keep making claims. You keep making claims about Quran.
This is very obvious.
No, it's not.
You keep saying these things.
Okay, sure. Here.
Many places,
one example.
Many wells. You're so wishy-washy. Can you be kind of definitive?
Are you guys trying to say that it is absurd to claim that the vast majority of biblical scholars do not agree that Mecca is Mecca?
So
can you answer that question? Can you answer that question?
I'm going to answer you right now. Look.
Can you answer that question, please?
I'm trying to. I've studied the subject matter. Now, with all respect, you clearly haven't. You've probably heard some things.
Can you please respond to the question that I just asked?
Just be patient. Be patient.
You're not answering the question. Can you please answer the question that I've asked?
I'm trying. Give me a chance. Relax. It's okay. We're having a conversation.
Sure.
Look, I've studied subject matter, and I can tell you right now, and I'm making this statement right now, that unanimously all scholars agree about one thing. They don't know what Mecca is. They don't know. No one has ever made a claim that we know exactly where Becca is.
Okay, was it my question?
I can give you a quote. Listen to me. I can give you a quotation right now of 30.
Was that my question? Because that's not what I asserted. What you objected to, because what I brought up was that the vast majority of scholars will never agree that Becca is in Mecca. That is not the conclusion that they come to. Is that false? Is that an absurd claim to make? Do you agree that the opposite is true?
So there are rabbis that agree. First of all, I don't know if you know this. The Samaritan.
That was not my question. My question was: is it absurd to claim that the vast majority of biblical scholars will?
No. That's a fallacious argument.
That's what the argument was.
No. It's fallacious because you're saying the opposite of what I'm saying in another way. Look, I'm telling you right now that they don't because two things. Listen to me why. First of all, they're biblical scholars. These people are Christians and Jews. So it is. Listen to me. There's always a component of bias that they're not gonna say, well, yeah, that is the place, because next thing you know is shahada. Okay, that's number one. You have to admit this fact. That's number one. You have to admit. This is common sense. That's number one. Number two, there are rabbis whom you can consider scholar, non-scholars, and academics who say actually, yes, Ismail is definitely the son of Abraham, and they built a place called Mecca. Otherwise, where did it come from? Why would Muslims invent this?
Okay,
And I'm telling you,
how about this proposition?
Now to answer your question. I'm about to answer your question.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
And now what I told you is when it comes to the name Becca, many people have falsely tried to like deviate from the meaning of it, and instead of habaka, keep it a noun, they changed it to like a verb, weeping or something like that, just to like run away from it, to not admit that it's actually Mecca or Becca. Right now, not most scholars, I haven't heard of any scholar, and I've studied this. I can tell you about 30 quotations right now. They agree they don't know what it is. They do not know. That's what their statement is. We don't know. We think there, we think here, but there's no definite agreement. There's no definite agreement. So you can't bring an argument saying like somehow you have some positive claim, like no, this scholar say this, it's in Jordan, or it's in Switzerland. We don't know.
Okay, here are two issues. I said that the vast majority of biblical scholars would never agree that Becca mentioned in the Bible refers to Mecca. There's just too much evidence against
because they don't know.
What you are doing,
you're not getting it.
Okay. What you are doing is, I mean, you are very haughty with your attitude, but what you are doing is to say they are biased, which is why they will not agree. But then you go ahead with your Islamic bias and argue that the Valley of Becca definitely refers to Mecca.
But he gave you his reasons as to why.
He didn't give me reasons. Why? I mean,
There's
a spring and there's a place of worship.
Look what I did. Listen to what I did. I haven't used the Quran. I haven't used the Sunnah. I haven't used some Islamic history. I'm telling you through the Bible what we can observe today, right? There is a sanctuary, a place called the House of God, or Beit El in Hebrew, right? Where people go in congregation, do pilgrimage. And the Bible says that this place will be open forever. It talks about the new Zion. It will be open forever. Now, we know historically speaking that Mecca, since the conquest, it has been open as the house of God for pilgrimage.
Where does it say that?
It says that in Isaiah 42, it says that in Isaiah 60, and it says that in Psalm 84. There are multiple places where it says that people go there in congregation. The only place on earth that talks about and celebrates the saving of the first son of Abraham, which we believe is Ismail. Even the Jews and Christians believe Ismail, the first son. Of course, they believe that the one sacrifice is Isaac. That's a whole different subject. We're not going to talk about it right now. But the idea of Abraham's son being saved, a place that celebrates it, where people do pilgrimage, where people bring animal sacrifice for the house of God, is the only place on earth, and it's called Becca, in the desert. Only place on earth is Mecca today. There's no other place. Show me a place where a place called Becca has a sanctuary related to saving of Abraham's first son, where people go in pilgrimage. Please.
It doesn't say in Isaiah that this specific place where these specific people live will be a sanctuary.
I just asked you a question
forever, for all time.
I don't know if you heard my question or not, but show me please.
No, if you misrepresent the entire premise, then the question doesn't really make sense. The Bible doesn't say that the place where these specific people live will have a sanctuary that will last forever, where you will be safe. Where does it say that? Give me the quotation. What does it say that? It even says in Isaiah 42 that the Lord will come forth and he will fight them. And it even the Bible even makes a reference to fighting the Hagarites and the Ishmaelites.
You're talking the Bible like a Christian. Do you believe the Bible's a reliable source of information?
No. That question makes no sense, because my argument.
Because here's the thing you see. You don't believe the Bible's a reliable source of information. We don't believe the Bible's a reliable source of information.
Then
so why do you think that's the standard of truth?
Then why do you bend it and give it as
No,
proof
why
for your own religious beliefs?
you're bringing it.
I don't. No, I don't.
I don't. I'll make it easy for you.
Hamza,
I don't care. Okay, I'll make it easy for you. I'll make it easy for you. Yeah, I don't care whether the Bible mentions Becca or not. I don't care.
Okay, sure. But then what you are saying is that there is no solid proof.
No, what I'm saying is absence of evidence and evidence of absence. That's what I'm saying to you.
No, what you're saying is that there is no solid proof that the Kaaba has any
let
connection
him
with
out. Let him
biblical
out.
history.
I know you want to say it.
Go ahead.
What? Are you talking to me now?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I just the whole, for me, the whole entire argument's already based on a faulty premise. I mean, the thing is, I don't even see why we're entertaining it. As I said, it was a fallacious argument, and the thing that I want to bring up as well is, like, you know, there are a lot of things in the Old Testament that aren't mentioned in the New Testament. Explicit doctrines of Christianity. Are you willing to make the same argument for your Christian fans that Christianity is false as a result of that?
What does that have to do with the topic?
That has everything to do with the topic, because you're saying the absence of something being mentioned in the tradition equates to its falsehood.
I'm not saying that. What
Yes,
I'm saying is that if you are making,
you said the Kaaba was not mentioned
in
the
a way,
tradition, therefore it makes Islam false.
In a way,
correct? That's what you said. That's what you said.
It points at it. I wouldn't say that.
There's no point at it. It's either false or it's not false. You don't have the.
Asadullah, if I make such a major claim, and there is no evidence which backs up my claim.
There is evidence.
There was a lot of evidence.
Were you listening to me?
I mean, we have heard your evidence about Becca.
Were you listening to me?
It's laughable.
Look. I'll tell you what's laughable. Listen to me.
Okay.
Khalil, no, one second.
You have a very hostile attitude. Can I respond to Asadullah, please?
1 second, please. I'll tell you
I know you will go ad hominem. I don't care. Can I respond to Asadullah?
I'm not interested in going ad hominem. I'm not interested. What's laughable? It's okay. Just relax. It's okay. I'll tell you what's laughable. You come onto this platform with zero evidence about a place that meets the criteria of Mecca is, and you want us somehow to entertain.
I don't need such evidence. It's ridiculous. The entire point of bringing up the Bible,
name a place,
make Bible verses as evidence for this is ridiculous.
I'm gonna buy a shirt. I'm gonna buy a shirt that says name a place. That's what I'm gonna do.
What we have, Asadullah, is your religion, your religious book comes out and makes a major claim and builds its entire foundation.
Okay, what is the claim in particular that you want to? I want to hear exactly what you meant. What you mean? What claiming specifically?
The claim is that this is the first house built for Allah, and Allah specifically gave humanity through Abraham and Ishmael the mission, or the responsibility to go out into the world so that people come to this place in worship every year. Now, of course, we know where this comes from, because in Muhammad's time, in his surrounding, the people were surrounding the Kaaba, and that was very significant to him. Unfortunately, in the history of humankind and anthropology, the Mecca has no significance. The Kaaba has no significance. I'm getting to it. Please listen. I'm getting to it. What we see is that it has Mecca has no significance, the Kaaba has no significance, and all of this has no relation at all to Jewish and Christian history.
Yeah. So why would it have any relation to Judaism, Jewish history?
Because
the Kaaba as relevant to their own religious practice.
Because it should be relevant according to the Quran's claim.
What?
Because this is the major place of worship, the major house established for Allah, which Allah had established, the first major house in the mother of cities, so that humans from all around the world would come and gather around it. Why has this no relation, no knowledge, no familiarity to Christianity and Judaism? Why is it completely absent from that?
You give different Sharia to different groups.
Is it different people? Was Ishmael Jewish? Was Ishmael Jewish?
That's an absurd question. That Jewish.
It's a straight question.
No,
was he Jewish?
Jewish is not something that existed for Ishmael. That's an absurd question. It doesn't make sense.
Right. So he wasn't Jewish, was he then? And Abraham obviously wasn't Jewish.
Okay, but the Quran's claim is that Abraham and Ishmael were given this.
But they weren't Jewish, were they?
Okay, and the Quran accepts the vast history of, or tries to accept the history of Jewish biblical tradition. So
but the point is,
these people are supposed to be the same people who are guided by Allah.
The problem you've got is this: the Quran's the word of Allah, the Bible's the word of Jews.
Okay, Hamza, but you have this. You have many prophets, figures that are mentioned in the Quran, who are seen as rightly guided, sent people by Allah in order to convey Allah's message.
Did you just hear what I said?
Okay. Can you please let me speak? Who convey Allah's message to humanity? It references them. And these people were with the Jews the entire time.
Right.
And they came after Abraham. And yet the Jews, despite this history and despite Allah's wish that all humanity comes to Mecca, to the Kaaba, Jews have no idea, and Jews have had no history with the Kaaba. That is
okay.
reconcilable.
Or does all humanity go to the Kaaba?
But no, but that's not.
They're supposed to.
I mean, that's not part of their.
Well, they do, don't they?
They're supposed to. They don't. They have only after the emergence of Islam.
Yeah. So, what's the problem with that?
Well, the problem is it's not reconcilable. I mean, it's very
How?
obvious.
You just said it's supposed to be for all people.
Need to be. I don't understand.
The Quran gives Abraham and Ishmael the mission to spread this to the entire world so that everyone comes. This is the major place. This is
where did you do that?
Mother of cities.
Where did you do that?
And yet it has no history within
Where
Christianity
does
and Judaism
Allah
at all.
say about Abraham and Ishmael were sent to the whole world? Where are you getting that from?
Yeah,
I didn't say they were sent to the whole world. I said that they should spread the word that people
No,
all
you didn't
around
say
the world
should.
come to him.
It's exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Did I say they were sent to the world? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
said that.
You did say that. Yeah.
That's
You
not what
did
I
say
meant. The issue
What
was
did you mean then?
that it was the first house built on earth for Allah by Abraham and Ishmael, and they were told to tell the people from around the world to come to the Kaaba.
You said it again. You just did it again.
Isn't that
Tell
what the
the
Quran
people
says?
from around the world.
Sorry,
How is Ishmael and I? No, 1 second.
If I need to make a correction,
I'm going to tell the people around the
It might be
world.
an issue of semantics, because if it is the first house built to mankind, you have to understand the Jews did not believe their religion was for mankind. The Jews' religion was for them, themselves, just themselves alone. Their ethnicity, their pilgrimage site was Jerusalem. They didn't. I mean, there's no need to reconcile this, right? I mean, that's.
You know, I made a point earlier. I don't know whether it went through or not. What I was saying to you earlier is that the claim that's made by the Jews and Christians is that this temple, this Beit El, is the temple of Jerusalem. Right? Temple of Jerusalem. Who built the temple of Jerusalem? That's the temple of Solomon. Now, it can't be it. It can't possibly be, because the psalm is written by David. David is the father of Solomon, which means the temple of Solomon wasn't built yet. Therefore, there was no sanctuary at the time. You get it? The only sanctuary that was, it must have been built before. Now, we know Ismail and Abraham built it. And another thing, the temple of Solomon, right, even though it wouldn't exist at the time because he wasn't even born yet, it would have been in Jerusalem, obviously. Now, David, if you read the psalm, it talks about how his heart and his body yearn this place. He misses it so much that he wants to go back, which means Dawood has been there before. Now he's writing a psalm about a place that he missed. Now, had it been in Jerusalem, as the Christian Jews say, then he would have just gone to it. This is clearly a place that is far from Jerusalem. You have to read the context. He misses this place. Now, we also have evidence from 1 Samuel chapter 21. It says that David ran away from Saul. He was trying to kill him to a place that is far. And he went in congregation to a place in Paran. So we already have evidence that David stepped out of the area of Jerusalem, Palestine, and went deep somewhere else far. Now, it made sense that he would have visited that place. He took it as a place of refuge, and then came back, and when he became king again, he wrote a psalm about how he missed that place. So it can't possibly be the one in Jerusalem. You get that part? He's talking about a place that is not in Jerusalem because he misses it.
What you're implying is that it's a place that is merely of some significance that he visited, but and yet it has, as it seems,
and he prayed there.
No universal significance to the Jewish religion at all, as it seems.
It does,
because they completely disconnected themselves from it. How?
No. Okay, look. Here's what you need to understand.
What we have is that it is mentioned. Okay, please.
I'm trying to answer you.
I just listened to you. Let me add to the point.
Go ahead.
What you're saying is that the Kaaba is mentioned, or this place is apparently mentioned in some part in this book as a place that is of significance, that was visited, that is a sanctuary, and so on. And yet it has apparently, as it seems, no major significance to the core of these religious beliefs. So apparently it did matter.
I got you.
Apparently it did matter to them, contrary to what we have said earlier. It apparently did matter, and it was relevant and important to them, but it also had no universal central relevance, as it seems, because it's only a place that is now far away that he misses. How does that make sense?
So here's the deal. Just because something mentioned in the Bible, it doesn't mean that's what everybody agree upon. Let me give you an example. Christians and Jews, they read the same Bible, right? And even in Christianity itself, you have Trinitarians, Unitarians. They read the same Bible, but they understand it differently. Do you agree with this part or no so far?
Sure, yeah.
Good. Now we agree that you can read the same passage, but you have different understanding, despite being even the same religion. Despite believing that Jesus died for your sins, Unitarians see he's not God. Trinitarians see that he's God. Now, same thing happened. Imagine now we're talking about things that are more ambiguous, names of places that can be mentioned here and there, and that are even older, way older, time of David, not even time of Jesus, time of David. So it makes it more ambiguous to have different opinions about things. So it is natural to have people have different understanding about what Becca is. So this does not refute our point. Now, the second point here is that, again, I have to bring up this bias perspective because it is true. We can't hide from it. It is true. And I admit, everyone has some sort of bias in them. But it is true. They're not going to go and admit to you, oh, yeah, well, it is Becca. I need Becca. Oh, and Prophet Muhammad, yep. He's just stick shahada and start laying up. Of course, we're not expecting all of them to do that. But however, historically speaking, we do have rabbis, we do have scholars who actually read these passages and immediately believed in the Prophet Muhammad and wrote books. Now, it's up to you whether you wanted to grab that book and read it for yourself and I give you references or not. But just because you're making that claim, just because Jew or Christian today doesn't agree with it, it doesn't mean it's not there, because they themselves disagree upon things. Allah said that in the Quran. They read the same book and they both disagree upon it.
Okay. Do you agree that it's also possible that you yourself have a bias toward Islam, which is why you conclude that Becca is Mecca?
Of course there's a bias in Islam, but I don't base my whole argument against bias. I'm not going to be honest with you. Of course, because Allah says in the Quran that the Prophet Muhammad is there. So, of course, this is some sort of bias because I already
Can I ask
believe
a simple question? Can I ask a simple question?
Sure.
Could the Bible be wrong?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay.
Well, there's my answer. Bible.
Why is it an ooh moment? Of course, yeah.
Well, if the Bible's wrong, then it doesn't matter what it says, does it?
It could be, yeah, but that's not my point. I mean, my point
no,
is
it is the point, because that's your standard of evidence.
I mean,
why is it not in the Bible? Why is it not in the Bible? Well, the Bible's wrong, mate. Now what?
What is with your attitude, Hamza? I don't get it.
Well, I think I knew you were going to come on with nonsense,
Khalil,
and you confirmed what I thought,
Khalil,
and you've been rinsed with evidence. Your responses are so wishy-washy, and now you've just accepted that the evidence you brought to challenge to Islam, you don't even believe it is accurate.
That's not the evidence that I brought. That's the evidence that
yes,
you
it
have
is.
proposed.
Yes, it is. Where does it say in the Bible? Where does it say in the Bible? It's your evidence, mate. It's your standard.
That's not what
yes, it is. Okay,
for somebody who has a place called the arena where people are supposed to tackle your ideas, you have a very hostile attitude.
You come on with an evidence you don't even believe in.
It is an arena.
It's an arena. Those things as an evidence.
You're the one who brought the Bible out. Where in the Bible does it say that?
Was I the one who brought that evidence? I was.
Let me answer you about that.
Christianity and Judaism have no connection, no historicity to this at all. Anthropology has no historicity to Mecca or the Kaaba at all.
That's not true.
Khalil, what you're saying is that people might have a difference of opinion or of understanding of a certain thing that they read.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that?
Yes, of course I agree.
Okay, so one second.
That's very normal. What we have is not a difference of understanding.
One second.
I'm talking. I listen to you.
No, I'll tell you why. Because look, we're trying to have a discussion. Because if you go on for too long, I'm gonna miss things. If I go for too long, so feel free to interrupt me. I don't mind. By the way, I don't mind.
I take that sacrifice the entire time. But you'll go ahead.
As long as we have civil conversation. Look, you agree so far that you have a group of people reading the same book and might understand it differently. You already said yes. So this argument itself refutes everything you're saying because
it's not. That was never my argument.
Because look, let me tell you why. Because there are Samaritan Jews, for example. Have you heard of Samaritan Jews?
Yes, I have.
Okay, they have Samaritan Torah. It's actually which is older than the Masoretic text and all. Right? They actually believe that the Prophet Muhammad is the prophet. The only difference, I don't know if you knew this, the difference is that they believe he's the prophet only for the Arabs. They're like, that's fine. He's a prophet, absolutely. It's just we have our own Torah, we have to do it. And then they live throughout Islamic history, fine. They have their own laws, they have their own courts, no problem at all. So now, and they believe that Mecca is a sanctuary place.
We also have the Ahmadis who believe that Buddha is a prophet, but who disregard them as heretics or kuffar.
That's a deflection.
But how is that irrelevant?
That's a deflection.
The point is that he's making here. The point he's making here, which you so stupidly missed, is the fact that the same people who are reading all the biblical texts,
and then it's always me who is the offensive one. Please.
Yes. So basically, he's just exposed to you that people reading all the biblical texts are happy to concede the Prophet Muhammad's a prophet. Why? Why is that?
People. You're talking about specific people. We're not talking about everybody who reads.
People who read this Bible that you've come with evidence which you don't really believe is true. People who do believe it is true have concluded that the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, was a prophet.
Okay, I'm showing.
Now you saying Ahmadiyya and Mirza Ghulam, whatever, is irrelevant.
Hamza, do you not believe that? Do you not think that my comparison to Ahmadis or others is a point to show how absurd that claim?
No, pathetic.
No.
Okay,
Ahmadis believe that the Buddha was a prophet.
It's a complete deflection. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
I'll tell you why it's a complete deflection. Just because some people.
I'll tell you why it's a complete deflection. Okay, I'll tell you why it's a complete deflection. All right, I'll tell you why it's a complete deflection. Because you've brought this Bible to the table as if it supports you, even though you don't even accept it. Yes, you did. Don't shake your head. This is what you brought. Okay, where in the Bible does it say this? Where in the Bible does it say that? All right. Now, what my brother Khalil just did, he's shown you that there are people who were reading the Bible, older texts than what the Masorati text is, and they've concluded that Prophet Muhammad was a prophet of God based upon what they read in their Bible, but he's just a prophet to the Arabs. Now, you banging on about Ahmadiyya is a complete deflection rather than addressing that point. So just address that point.
It's actually a very logical comparison to show how absurd
it
is. But
I'll be honest with you, my brother. I've decided you don't have logic, mate. You don't understand logic. You believe absence of evidence is evidence of absence.
Never said that. Hamza, let me correct you.
How is it absurd? How was my claim absurd? How? Did you want me to hold on? Did you want me to tell you that unanimously every single human being?
Can I please speak?
You are going to speak.
I have been listening here to your ramblings and to his insults for quite a while now.
Rambling. Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
Can I please speak?
No problem.
It was never my intention to come here and say, look at the Bible. The Bible says this. How can you refute this? That's not what I did. What I said at the very beginning is that Islam makes a claim about the Kaaba at its core foundation, and the Kaaba is entirely disconnected from Abrahamic tradition and history and from human.
How do you know that?
From historicity in general. Well, we have.
How do you know that?
We have talked about the evidence. I did
not.
No,
the evidence is the Bible, mate. So don't act like you didn't come with the Bible.
You brought zero evidence. Zero. Zilch.
Apart from the Bible.
I mean, you can't really present evidence for something that doesn't exist. There is no connection between Abrahamic religion and
I'm asking you where is the sanctuary? Listen to me. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with you, bro. You're making a claim, but you don't have anything to stand on. It's like you're just in the air, flying, like floating. Like you're not really standing on anything. I'm asking you, where is the place on earth, a sanctuary that commemorates and celebrates the saving of the firstborn of Abraham, right? That happens to be called Beit El in Hebrew, Baitullah in Arabic, right? That happens to be in the south, in Zion. By the way, Zion doesn't mean always Zion. It means also desert, by the way, the wilderness in Hebrew. There's Zion and there is Zion.
In the context, it's very clear what it means.
Exactly. That's why you find in ancient translation, in Isaiah, many places, they don't translate Zion as Zion. They translate it as the wilderness.
Okay.
So this is something you gotta check out. The word Zion has two meanings, by the way. Right? In Zion, sanctuary, where people go in congregation and do pilgrimage and house of God. And it's outside of Jerusalem, not in Jerusalem. That someone has to actually go far, run away from the king, Saul, to get to it. Now we're telling you that this place actually exists on earth, and a prophet of God happened to come out of there, right? And made that claim. Now, unless you believe he's a time traveler, he went back to the book of Isaiah or something and inserted it. Wrote about Mecca, wrote about the Kaaba, place called Mecca. If you believe that, we can discuss time travel, no problem. But so far, we do have a place. You don't have a place. You literally just throwing stuff in the air without providing any evidence.
No, but it's probably because I don't necessarily memorize or remember the specific places where, for example, temples were built. How many temples did Abraham build according to the Bible?
Look, name a place.
Can you answer
the bloody Bible? Leave the Bible alone. You don't believe in it.
Hamza, that's your evidence.
We don't believe in it.
I'm responding to you.
We don't believe in the Bible. You don't believe in the Bible. So the Bible is not a standard of evidence in this room.
You just talked about logic. I am responding to his evidence. Can you?
Yes, I know, but you just brought the Bible against the table, which you don't believe in.
Yeah, because he presented the Bible, and I'm attacking his evidence right now. Can you please allow that? Khalil, how many temples did Abraham build according to the Bible?
No, let's just.
Can you answer my question? How many
temples
did Abraham build?
I asked you the question. No, I'm not going to eat slide with that. It's not working. Sorry, not today. Watch this.
It is completely related to the topic. How many temples did Abraham build according to the Bible?
No. I asked you the question. Name a place.
I don't know. Okay, I don't know.
Thank you.
Here's my counter question. Here's my counter question. How many temples?
What do you mean you don't know? Then why are you making the claim if you don't know?
Because you are clearly saying that this is not in your favor.
I'm giving you the place.
How many temples did Abraham
listen to yourself? I don't. 20 million. Who cares? I'm giving you a place that matches the criteria. What are you talking about?
False.
That's deflection.
False.
Listen. You
Can
missing
you
the
name
point.
another place that matches the
False.
criteria?
Name
Can you
name another place?
I don't think at all.
So what is
Okay,
your argument about?
I don't think.
Rizwan, can you name another place?
I don't think that Mecca play.
What is your argument about?
I don't know where it is. I don't.
Can you name another place?
I don't know where it is. I don't know the place. I don't
What a
think.
coincidence.
that-
Fine, that's
Name
fine.
another place.
So what a coincidence
Can you
is
please- can you
this?
please
What a
let me speak,
coincidence. A prophet came out of a place, Mecca, right? Who happens to be called Becca, even in Akhbar Mecca, in our historical books that we have through our tradition. Placed in Mecca, used to be called Becca. We know that for sure, right? And a prophet happens to come out of there. Surprise, surprise, happened to have a house of God, right? Where historically, it's saying that Muhammad went and destroyed the idols there and returned it back to what it was, monotheism. Happened to be there. Yeah, surprise, a prophet of God, David, writes about a place where he went to when he ran away and he went back to his place, Jerusalem, and misses this place. Remember, Temple of Solomon was not even existing yet. The only sanctuary place that was existing is in Mecca, which David talks about in Becca. I'm giving you all this. And you come in here telling me
what you're referencing is your big proof is a mention of a place called Valley of Baqa, which they passed through on their glorious walking through to the house of God.
Now walking. Pilgrimage. No. That's not funny.
They passed through it.
You're laughing at yourself.
That's what it says.
You're literally laughing at yourself.
No, I'm laughing at your stupid logic. The Psalms literally says they walk towards Zion.
Because
that's what it says. They walk through the Valley of Baqa. They walk
look.
Here's
your problem. Name a place of pilgrimage called the house of God, right? Outside of Jerusalem. No, so he doesn't mention the criteria because
the Valley of Baqa is not outside of Jerusalem. It says they passed through the Valley of Baqa while they're going to Jerusalem. Do they pass from Mecca to go to Jerusalem?
Listen to this. David is a king. That's his kingdom. He's right in the Psalm. You see, the problem is, look, you don't speak Hebrew.
And where was his kingdom? Listen
to me. With all respect, this is not an attack. Honestly, it's okay. You don't speak Hebrew. That's fine.
Can you add to that? Where was his kingdom?
Listen.
Just add the detail. Where was his kingdom?
You're not gonna learn ever. That's the problem. You don't listen.
No, I'm asking you to add to your.
You'll never learn.
Okay,
you're never gonna learn.
Go ahead, explain.
You don't want to learn.
No, go ahead, explain. I want to learn. I just think make false.
Then listen.
Go ahead. Sure.
Listen. It's okay. It's okay to not know something. It's fine. You can learn it. That's fine. It's all right. You clearly don't know the subject matter.
I mean, I don't think you are very genuine in your approach. But go ahead. Sure.
Well, you haven't given me. Okay. Well, let
I think you're very dishonest. Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. What am I dishonest about?
I think you're very dishonest in your approach. You're very biased. See how red you get when what
am I dishonest about? What am I dishonest about?
I think you're very dishonest about your Islamic beliefs and premises in general. I don't think you have any reason to believe that the Valley of Baqa refers to Mecca, which is absurd. Mecca has no historicity at all.
How am I dishonest? Did I provide
any historical source? Yeah, I think you refuse to see the evidence. That's what I think.
Okay, what is your evidence?
The evidence is that Mecca has absolutely no records in history and no significance at all.
That's a lack of evidence.
That's not evidence.
No, that is evidence.
Oh my God!
There is no evidence to it as a significant
This is bad, man. I really thought you'd be more sophisticated. I really thought you'd be more sophisticated philosophically. At least knowing some rules
of course.
Listen.
I think I'm the only person who is honest about this.
I really thought you have some rules about mantiq and logic. But
I do.
You're all over the place.
I think I've completely.
You don't even know the difference between positive claim and negative claim.
Adil, can you explain to me where exactly in anthropology is Mecca?
Why are you asking me questions when I ask you to give you criteria of a place and you can name it, and you still stand there telling me?
I already answered that question the first time. I don't know what that place is. It's a random place.
Stop. What's the better time? You don't know the place.
I don't know the place.
And I told you already. I can quote for you right now. 30 scholars, biblical scholars, who say we don't know where Becca is.
Okay, but sure. I don't know where it is.
Wait. But there are some rabbis actually said yes. The only one that makes sense is Mecca today because it has a sanctuary. They do celebrate the birth of Abraham's son when he was saved, and they do bring sacrifice to the Beit of El. Some rabbis actually agree with this.
Okay.
And the rest of them, including Christians, they say we don't know.
Okay. So now, the vast majority of rabbis also agree that the Quran's account is false. What do you
wait, that's different argument again. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about particular point. That's a deflection again. See, you're deflecting again.
No, but what I'm trying to say is appealing to certain people does not prove your point.
Look. I provide plenty of evidence. Just look. You don't even have to be an atheist. I don't even know whether you're Christian or atheist, to be honest with you, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. Just looking at this from an objective perspective, neutral, right? if you take the data, collect the data, like if you're in an academic setting, university, take the data, you have a geographic location, you have a house that existed there, you have a place for pilgrimage that still exists today, and you do exactly what's mentioned there outside of Jerusalem, because David's writing the psalm about a place that he missed. So it cannot be Jerusalem. And you can eliminate immediately the temple of Jerusalem, which was built by Solomon. And this is David speaking, who was the father of Solomon. He wasn't even born yet. So he didn't have a sanctuary there in Jerusalem. He didn't. They didn't exist. The only one that existed is in Mecca. So I'm providing you this evidence. But yet you're not even willing to say.
So let me rephrase your argument.
I'm not done yet. I'm landing. 1 second.
Sure, go ahead.
Now, here's how I know you're not genuine. If you were genuine, you would have said, you know what? You presented something. I might not agree 100%, but you did bring up criteria. It is my duty as an honest individual, an academic, to take the criteria, study the subject matter. We can have another talk about this. But you didn't do that. You immediately went in defensive mode. And when I asked you for evidence, you said, I don't know. This
because
is
absurd. Because you're insulting and condescending. I will tell you what
how
I think.
How am I insulting? How?
How many times have you said you are ignorant? I don't think you are honest. I thought you were more sophisticated. I thought you were this and that.
That's not insulting.
That's not part of the discussion. That's not part of the discussion. Stop. That's an ad hominem approach.
Just not an ad hominem approach.
It has no. It has no relevance. It has no relevance to the topic at all. Let's talk about the subject matter. You did that in the entire time. People can see it. I'm trying to not do it. But I'm a human as well. Okay. Let me respond to the point.
Ridwan, all you need to respond to
is
name a place.
I have already responded to that, Hamza.
Name a place. Understand.
I have already responded to that.
First thing, try to explain why do rabbis say this is Mecca?
Why do the vast majority of
why do rabbis say it? Why do rabbis say it?
How many rabbis say it?
Why do rabbis?
There's a good reason why.
What's the percentage of rabbis among rabbis who say it?
If one rabbi says it, why is one rabbi saying it?
Yeah.
Why? Because they put the bias aside. They put the bias aside, and they realize there's nowhere else that fits the criteria. So it's very simple. Ridwan, name the place that matches the criteria. And if you can't name another place that matches the criteria, then you're in no position to say Mecca doesn't match the criteria. You're in no position to do that.
Okay. Well, can I rephrase? Can I summarize what I think Khalil's argument is here? So what I did was to say, hey, the Kaaba is completely disconnected from historicity and from Abrahamic history. It has no place in it at all, as we can see.
So that's false. That's been refuted.
False.
I'm trying to explain what the premise is. What
my premise is.
Okay. It has no significance in anthropology. It has no connection to Abrahamic history.
Refuted.
Is what I said. Okay. Can I please go ahead and summarize your argument? You appear very bad here right now. Okay. Your response to that was yes. It is connected to Abrahamic tradition, and I can prove it because there is a certain thing called the Valley of Baca, which apparently refers to Mecca, and you cannot prove that it refers to anywhere else besides Mecca. And my proof that it refers to Mecca is that there is a well and a house of God in Mecca, which means it refers to that place, and that's the absolute proof that it is connected to the Abrahamic religion. That was your entire premise. If I did anything wrong, if I did injustice to your premise, to your argument, point it out, please. But that is exactly what you did. Your argument is it fits the criteria of having a spring and a house of worship, and that's why it is Mecca. Great.
So generally, if I said there's a place with Big Ben,
was that wrong?
And a London Eye. No, if I say there's a place with Big Ben and the London Eye, and where's in the world matches that criteria?
That's terrible logic.
Wait there. Could be London. Wait. Stop. There might be another place that has Big Ben and a London Eye. That's your argument. Pathetic.
Can I tell you what the correct analogy would be? The correct analogy would be that there is a tower with a
Ferris
clock.
wheel. Yeah,
that would be the correct analogy.
Okay. But then if Mecca does fit that, right, and even if then, and we make it more vague like you just did, and we say that there's a Ferris wheel and a big clock.
Okay.
Now, to say that London fits that criteria isn't false.
Not entirely, yeah.
Right.
Good.
So
now
the question is right, if there is a list of criteria, a list of characteristics of this place, and we can offer you one, that being Mecca, you can't dismiss it. You can't say that it's a ridiculous argument because there's a criteria that's been given, and this criteria is met by Mecca. Now you can offer a counter suggestion and say, well, it could be this place, it could be that place, it could be that place. Now, if there's a fief and there's a lot of evidence. And we've got video footage of a man with a blue top on and green pants, and he's got a particular weapon in his hand. And then later on, we find a man who's got a blue top and certain pants, and he happens to have this particular knife. And we say, well, we have this man here. We think it's him. He matches the criteria, and we can't find anyone else who matches this criteria. So we've got good evidence to suggest that this is the person. Now, if you then come along and say, well, no, there could be other people with blue tops and green pants. So, well, who? I don't know. It could be. It's possible. No one's going to take that opposition as a serious counter.
Okay. What I think? If we had a text which suggested, which was about, let's say, Berlin, okay, it's about Berlin, and Berlin is a center of entertainment, and we read a text from this place in Berlin, from this club in Berlin, which says it's really enjoyable that these people, when they come to our place of entertainment, pass through the secret bridge, okay, and now we go through the geography, and we find that there is also a certain secret bridge in France, right at Paris, where people also go to a club to have entertainment at the center of a cult. You cannot say, well, okay, that fits the criteria, which is why
let me respond to that very quickly.
Basically what that is.
Let me respond to that very quickly, okay?
Sure.
See, you're not being genuine here.
Please stop that, Khalil. I'm trying to argue with you.
Let me tell you why. I'm gonna back up my claim, unlike you. Now everybody can witness this, because now the example you gave. Okay, don't get frustrated. It's okay. Relax. It's the conversation.
Okay, but if you go with personal attacks, every normal person will be really frustrated.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't be frustrated.
Just before you speak, Khalil, I'm not going to speak. Just before you speak, everybody in the chat, thumbs up, thumbs down. Do we get rid of him? Go on, carry on, Khalil.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So look, you made it seem like it's the example you drew has nothing to do with what I've been talking about for the past hour. You and I. Okay,
that's because it's an analogy. Sure, go ahead.
No, it's a very false and short and disgenuine analogy. It's not very genuine, because you made it seem as some bridge that you pass by to get to some club or some cult. If that happens, we're not going to say this. Of course not. We're not talking about a bridge here. We're talking about a geographic location at a place which happened to be sanctuary, which happened to commemorate and celebrate the saving of the firstborn of Abraham, which happened to have people do sacrifice there because of this reason, which happened to be place for congregation of prayer, which happened to be called Beit El or Beitullah, which happened to also be a place for the word pilgrimage is used there in the Psalm. Literally a place for pilgrimage called House of God that is outside of Jerusalem, and I explained the reason why it's outside of Jerusalem. I give you 5-6 criteria about a place that exists today, and a prophet came out of that area and happened to be in the Bible for some reason.
Okay.
You're dismissing all this. And you can see like, oh, but if I pass by a bridge to get to a club, I'm not gonna say this is ridiculous.
Okay, can I give you a final response to why I disagree with that, which I already did earlier?
Do you mind if I add as well?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Because it's related to it. So you also asked, well, why are there no rabbis that are saying this or Christians that are saying this today? Well, they have good reason not to, because if they do admit to this, then they need to become Muslim.
Exactly.
Now,
that's
one thing.
I mentioned that to him.
But you've already said that. Okay, so that's it is. Are you telling me that's not a good reason? Because it's the same with regards to, you could make the same claim with the Muslims. You say we have good reason to sort of be motivated to believe that this is Mecca.
I think the original point was that that there is no historical reference to the Kaaba or any significance in biblical tradition and scripture at all, except a vague reference apparently.
What's your criteria? What's your criteria? I want to know your criteria. Fine, I apologize. I'm sorry. Go ahead. But what is your criteria of historical evidence, please?
Okay. What it looks like is you have a vague reference within biblical scripture to a place, and you connect different puzzle pieces in order to make it look like this is Kaaba, Mecca. First off, when we refer to
what is your criteria?
Can you please let me explain? When we refer to
we have a name. We have a name, for God's sake.
When we refer to Becca, Valley of Becca, Becca is once mentioned as a random battlefield along the places where the kings
it's place for pilgrimage.
And once it is mentioned as a valley that people go through while going to Zion. Going to Zion.
That's not what it says. No. That's not what it says.
Yes, that's the problem. It literally says in Psalms 84. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It doesn't say that.
I will look it up.
The problem is that you read it in English. That's the problem.
Okay. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself right here.
What language are you reading it, first of all?
English.
What language are you, okay, which book are you using?
Blessed are those whose strength is in you, whose
wait. NIV, KJV. Listen to me.
Okay, I'll go to
GPS.
KJV. I was just reading NIV. Let me go to
Listen
KJV.
to me. What all it's saying there, passing through a place to get to this place. في عمق هبكة. Okay, عمق, that means like a deep place. Also means like a valley. That's what it's like. Same cognate in Arabic. عمق. في عمقي, inside, somewhere deep. Okay, describing the place. People go to it in congregation to do pilgrimage. What's in this place, Becca? Something called Beit El.
Okay, Khalil, I was speaking. You interrupted me. Let me ask a question.
Can't bothered. Sorry, mate. Thumbs up and thumbs down of give it away.
Hamza,
And you just
can I respond?
So I'm gonna get rid of you.
Can I talk now?
Oh, you want to say something? Do you want him back?
No, I just want to say something.
Go on, say something.
I'm sorry, I was frustrated the entire time because I'm just listening to Brother Khalil. Thank you for your input. I just think that the whole conversation was irrelevant because my first point that it was fallacious should have ended the conversation. So the point is, and I think I brought up a significant alternative there as well as to why the Jews would not, in their own historical scriptures, mention the sun, mention the worship places of something that was supposed to be for all mankind, because they were an ethno-religious state that only focused on themselves and their own Sharia. Like, why would they even care about what the Arabs are doing over there to begin with? And like, why would they even mention it as part of their own scriptures and their own tradition? It was irrelevant to them to begin with. So why would it's like, oh, why did they mention China? It's like, or Japan.
The existence of the Jews and the Christians as well is evidence that these people can go astray, because they're both an example for each other of people who refuse to accept certain points.
Yeah, that's a point too. So it's not even that, but like also I brought the point earlier about Christianity is like there are many doctrines in Christianity that are not mentioned explicitly in the Quran. They're trying to impose it from the New Testament onto the Old Testament, trying to infer things. But there's nothing that even the name Jesus is not so. Oh, he didn't exist. It's like I mean, I don't. The argument was fallacious to begin with. I kept calm and collected throughout the entire time. I just wanted to listen to, but honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, Brother Khalil. Despite I love your explanation and your knowledge, and I think you had a lot to say. But honestly, just to be frank with you, just as a brotherly advice, I think the fact that you entertained the premise gave the impression to a lot of stupid people in the chat that he actually had a point. And my whole thing was like, no, it was fallacious. Khalas. Done. There's no reason to even entertain this. I think for the academic sake, like I love what you were talking about because it's like interesting for me. But for him, it gave the impression for him and his audience that he actually had a point when he didn't.
I think he was good to slap him about.
I'm saying that, I'm not saying that as an offense to you. I'm just saying that
it doesn't come across that way.
No, not at all. I agree with you 100%. What it is actually, this is why I said in the beginning, I said, you know what, even if we entertained your ridiculous claim, your fallacious claim, which has already been debunked by Asadullah, you ruined the whole first principles of mantiq, of logic. You've done that already. You've already lost. But if we entertain that, let us destroy this claim so it will never be brought up again. This is why I entertained this, to be honest with you. But you're right. You shouldn't have been continued.
Now, if he was a Christian, he would have had a stronger position, because at least he believes the Bible is reliable and the word of God, and he would have had to entertain it. But he doesn't even believe the Bible's reliable. Doesn't even recognize, he doesn't believe Moses existed and all this. And you're like, well, wait a minute. You don't even believe half of the stuff that's in there anyway. Why are you bringing this to us as an evidence where we personally don't believe it's reliable either?
But I want to give some context.
Can I say something that's really obvious and funny as well? It's really quick. Just the how close the word Becca is to Mecca. It's just like, it's like, for me, it's quite clearly you can see that there's been a slight change.
No. But wait, Brother Yusuf, Becca is one of the names of Mecca.
It is.
Becca is mentioned in the Quran. The word Becca is mentioned in the Quran. Becca is Mecca. If you go to books like that, we have a lot of books in our tradition, like Akhbar Mecca and many other books, encyclopedias that talks about Mecca. The word Becca is one of the names of Mecca. And the Quran gets it so, mashallah, so perfect in terms of the timing that when Allah talks about the place before Islam, he refers to it as Becca. When he talks about Ibrahim, Ismail, that place is called Becca. But when he talks about the time of Muhammad, he calls it Mecca. That's the accuracy of the Quran. Because before it was called Becca, and after Islam, or around the time of Islam, it became Mecca. In addition to in Arabic language, the ba and mim, sometimes they're interchangeable, but that's like a different point. But Becca is definitely the name of Mecca. And Dawah, it's in the Quran, and it's in history.
Shall I add the next? Bring in the next guest.
Real quick, if I may, just clarify real quick too. One of the reasons that I'm also that I want to emphasize that it shouldn't have been entertained was the fact that it's the same thing. Remember the tap debate, Yusuf?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Of course I do.
So I think we all saw that, right? The way that Ridwan gains credibility among many individuals is because he's able to carry a conversation through, despite the absurdity of it. Is that he's able to waffle and kind of go in different directions, and that gives the impression to a lot of people, a lot of uneducated morons, and I'll be very frank, because that only uneducated people will see that, as being as giving legitimacy to the argument. Because they're entertaining what he's saying, therefore he has a point. And it's like, that's why I'm so strong about this, saying like, okay, no, if it's already fallacious, there is no point.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have,
have
much of an understanding of fallacies, and so like you point them out to him, and he just sort of like pretends.
I don't think he knew.
Not.
Yeah, I don't think he understood
and then just.
He pretends it's not, then carries on anyway.
Yeah. And so he's not really that clued up with like what a fallacy is, etc. But then like he'll bring it up randomly when it suits him, like he was accusing Khalil of ad hominem.
No. So I wanted to jump in and say, like, an insult is not an ad hominem. An ad hominem is when you would trade an insult for an argument. If he's coming to the conclusion that you're ignorant about something, it doesn't necessitate that it's an ad hominem.
Yeah. So you're stupid. I don't like you. You've got a funny haircut. Therefore, your argument is wrong. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so it's
no connection.
Yeah. So there's a difference between an argument, which is a number of premises which lead to a conclusion, to making statements besides arguments. So like, just if you make a statement, so I wasn't here, what was it that you said that
and even that I didn't say anything. I just said with all due respect,
he just said I expected more from you.
Yeah, I said I thought you'd be more sophisticated.
I'm disappointed. I thought I was expecting.
Yeah, that's not an ad hominem.
It's not. It's not even anything. It's true.
It's not even an argument at all. It's simply a statement. Like if it was, I expected more from you, therefore you're wrong. That would be like it's the stupidest argument you could ever make. But that would be an ad hominem.
I said I thought you'd be more sophisticated, in articulating the argument, which I clearly wasn't, in my opinion. But
yeah, I think that's.
And I also agree with the point too. I want to emphasize too when you said, "Look," and he didn't bring an alternative. Oh, there are alternatives. Well, where's the alternative? You don't say like, "Okay," it's like if you're challenging a scientific theory, you don't go, "Well, there are alternatives," and you're like, "Okay, what is it?"
I don't know.
Well, I don't really know,
but there could be.
So then, why is mine false? Well, I can't really tell you. Why are you here? Like, I don't understand the point.
But not just that. Imagine someone was making.
You see why I'm saying I thought you were more sophisticated? This is unbelievable. I've never had anybody in an argument telling me, "No, you're wrong." Why? I don't know.
I don't know.
But did you see my argument though? I just presented a criteria. I didn't just make. It's not a hinge. It's not some opinion.
Look, name a place, bro. I want to see it on a T-shirt. Name a place.
I'm gonna get a T-shirt. Name a place.
Honestly, we need that meme. Name a place. All right, ready for the next guest? I think this one might be a bit more. I've got case waiting.
I think
I need some tea.
The pen. It's irrelevant. All right, bro. See you in a second. It's a pen. It's irrelevant. Name a place.
All right, let's add Dylance.
Dylance.
Did I hear my name? Just Dylan is fine.
Dylan. Hello, Dylan.
Hello.
Pleasure.
Hello.
Hey. It's been interesting listening in on this.
We're waiting to hear you, man.
Oh,
what you got?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. There we go. So, I was pretty much just invited to be in here. I joined after hearing that interesting conversation earlier.
Good man.
So
what you got?
What's the topic of the live supposed to be?
You want to challenge Islam? You want to tell us what you believe is true? What you like? We don't mind.
Do you want to be challenged, or do you want to challenge? Is the question.
Be challenged. I got nothing to challenge with at the moment.
What do you believe?
Well, I'm an atheist.
Oh, okay. Why?
Yes. Lack of evidence, to put it shortly.
I knew you were going to say that, honestly.
It is a bit of a meme, yeah.
All right. I'll let Yusuf start with that one. That's an easy one for you, mate.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm attacking now. So what? Just
you're attacking his position of apathy.
Just
that
not
works.
being that bothered.
You're not bothered.
Okay. Yeah, we can go with that. Yeah, that works fine. I'm a bit apathetic to religion as a whole.
Okay, and so why do you find it uncompelling in particular? Is it just there's too many, or like what sort of reasons have led you to this apathy?
I'd say if you think there are definitely quite a bit of religions. I'd say they have similar evidence for them, but I'd say in the end it's just lack of evidence to choose any particular one.
Let's forget religion. Let's deal with God.
Sure.
So do you believe in God? Well, obviously you don't, but do you believe that? Do you believe there are like? Are you familiar with the arguments for God, or
a few of them?
Which ones?
I'm a little familiar with the Kalam. Heard about the argument from Mehmet a little bit, like the what's it called? The PAA, purely actual actualizer, with Aristotle's proofs, all that jazz.
Yeah,
just a few.
So, are you familiar with the contingency one in particular, or?
A little bit, yes. I can't say I've looked at it too much. You have to refresh me.
Yeah, so it's basically we look around at the world around us and we see that there are certain kinds of things. That is, things begin to exist and they perish, and they all appear to be dependent upon something external to themselves or beyond themselves. And we can just call this contingency for short. And so we're surrounded by contingent things. And this begs a question, or it raises a question. So what is responsible for these contingent things? Like, do we make the claim that there's just an infinite amount of contingent things, and this set of all contingent things is self-reliant?
The BCCF?
BCCF?
The oh dear, what's the acronym? Basically, the set of all contingent things.
Yeah.
Whether that itself is contingent, so it's like self-explanatory.
Yeah, exactly. So is the set of all is the set of all contingent things itself contingent, or is it necessary? So the set as a whole, is that necessary, or does it all come from nothing? So we've got those claims now. A refutation of one of them, i.e., that the set of all contingent things just comes from nothing with no prior cause, is that is an absurd notion. So first of all, you can't make the claim that nothing gives rise to something, because nothing has no attributes. Nothing, in its absolute sense,
the absence of something.
Yeah.
So how does the absence of something cause something?
Exactly. So we write that one off. And then we're left with either there's a distinct kind of being that gives rise to the set of all contingent things, or the set of all contingent things is itself necessary. And the reason we would disregard the second is because if you have a set, whether that's a finite set or an infinite set, they are still reliant upon something. Sorry, I'll just get
basically what's necessary out of all this.
Yeah. How do you move from a collection of contingent things to a necessary thing with this collection? So if you have one laptop, that requires an explanation outside of itself. If you have 10, it requires an explanation outside of itself. If you have an infinite amount of laptops, they still require an explanation beyond themselves. They can't be responsible for themselves as contingent things. And so it doesn't matter whether you've got a finite or an infinite amount. There still needs to be a reference to something external to the set, because the set itself has to be dependent upon something that isn't in the set. Because circular dependencies, for example, are absurd. That is.
Yeah, I don't like them either.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like the VCCF idea. And I'm agreeing with you so far. Although, what do you mean by being there? Do you mean the philosophical definition, or being as in something that's conscious, like a god?
At the moment, we're just talking about a being in general.
Just
something, and then we can move
X. Yeah.
Exactly. And then once we've established the existence of a necessary being that's distinct from those things that are created, those things that originate, perish, finite things that are dependent, we have this kind of being which has a number of attributes. It's necessary, so its non-existence is impossible. It must exist, which would basically make it an eternal being. Its presence has always been about, and its non-existence is impossible. And it's independent. Say again?
Oh, so I'll bite on that. I know there's like some arguments about the idea of a necessary thing can still have its existence dependent on something, but it can't not exist.
So what's that contention? Do you want to go into that or
say that again?
There's an idea of still positive in philosophy that I don't think I quite agree with. The idea that like you can have something that's necessary and that it can't not exist, but that its existence is still dependent on something else.
Okay, that's not necessary then, is it?
No, necessary.
It depends on how you define it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, continue.
Because we've started with the contingency argument, and this is making inferences from dependencies anyway. So this being would be independent. Is the conclusion of the contingency argument, which would
necessary
mean
and independent. Yeah, that works.
Yeah. So it basically it can't rely on anything outside of itself. It's self-subsisting, and so you have this very particular kind of being, which is unique, which gives rise to everything. And then we would ask, well, why is it giving rise to anything at all? Why is it making things come into being? And if it's not dependent upon anything, if it's not being affected by things external to it that are making it or causing it to create contingent things, then what we're saying here is that there must be something internal within it. It must be, this sounds very similar to what we would refer to as a will, because it's making things off its own accord. And there is no reason external to itself for why it would make that come into being. And so we infer things such as will here. We would infer things such as power, so it being all-powerful or the source of power, because anything that has power must attain its power from this being. And we can go through these sort of, we can make inference to design in the universe itself through things like the fine-tuning. Hamza's been reading a lot more of that book than I have recently, The Return of the God Hypothesis. He'd love an opportunity to jump on that. But so we can infer things like design from the fine-tuning of the universe and from the complexity of living things. There's the arguments from consciousness, etc., as well, where we could say, obviously I'm giving a very vague overview here of the attributes, but basically that which has life, you cannot give that which you do not have yourself. So this necessary being, in order for life to exist, the being that creates us, in the same way that in order to give power, it must have power, we would make this argument that in order to give life, it must itself have life, because life cannot come from non-life. And we would even make inferences from the fact that we've never seen this be the case of non-life giving rise to life. And it's one of the biggest issues and problems that science is trying to overcome, even with regards to the whole process of evolution and things. How did life begin in the first place?
You mean like abiogenesis?
Yeah, just this.
Dylan, you've had such a nice ride with Yusuf. Can I just poke you a little bit?
Sure.
Do you mind, Yusuf?
Yeah, I just want to see, like, first of all, like, what problems has he got with those sort of arguments? So I know they were very vague, but
sure. You want me to answer that first, or you want to go, Hamza?
Yeah, please, because then I don't want to I know Hamza's got his teeth grinding ready for it. But, no, I just wanted to see what I've said so far. Do you incline to anything that I've said there, or do you repel any of it, or feel resistant to any of it?
Well, for contingency argument, I would agree with it for the most part. There's something that's necessary. I wouldn't quite agree with like it necessitating a will, or like the idea of non-life coming to causing life. But I know that would delve into abiogenesis and whether that which doesn't have a property can cause property originally didn't have and jazz.
Yeah.
And then, fine tuning, I don't quite like either, of course.
You don't like fine tuning? Why not?
It kind of seems to presuppose that the purpose of the universe is for humans to exist.
No, fine tuning means that the way the universe exists is the way the universe exists compared to the way it could not exist. The probability is so astronomically absurd. To actually take that position is kind of absurd.
Well, I mean, like the probability for the universe to be as it is, rather than
yes, the probability for the universe to be the way it is. Yes.
But for that, I would just ask, like, what's the probability of it being something else?
All right, I'll give you the probability. I'll give you the kind of analogy. So I'm not going to reference to me, but you can check this reference out. So if you want to know the odds of the universe being the way it is based upon fine tuning, if I was to take a subatomic particle in this universe and paint it blue, and then I was to blindfold you, and then I was to tell you to travel anywhere in the universe and give you the ability to find that blue subatomic particle with your blindfold on, you're 10 billion times more likely to find the subatomic particle that's been painted blue than this universe to be the way it is.
Gotcha.
So this is your choice. And it's like, what? So, see, I've been coming to the... For me now, I used to say, oh, I can't prove God. I can give you good reason for God and such and such and such. I truly believe now the universe couldn't exist without God. I don't think it's got other gaps. It's just necessary. There's nothing else that can fill it. Whether it's the fine-tuning, whether it's how the idea how a random mutation can result in natural selection and that these proteins can be formed, the odds on that protein being positive and something beneficial is so absurd once more. And that's like saying you either believe Shakespeare wrote Shakespeare, or you believe billion monkeys on a billion typewriters for a billion years wrote the works of Shakespeare. That's the probabilities, and you're going with the monkeys again. When you look at chemistry and you look at carbon and you try to work out how did that come, it's for me, from my recent
I can give an analogy.
What?
I can give a good analogy. It's like a lottery ticket.
That's a good game.
That was a bit random. It's like a lottery ticket that in order to win the jackpot, you have to buy a lottery ticket and first win. And then if you win that first lottery ticket, then you're allowed to buy another lottery ticket and you've got to win that. And then if you win that lottery ticket, then you get the opportunity to do that countless, like not countless, but like a lot.
Several times.
So you got to buy a lot of lottery tickets and keep winning every one without any failure from one to the next. Like it's
so my question to you would be, why do you go with these absurd probabilities and ignore what's in your front of your face?
Oh, so wait, you wouldn't say these are necessarily probabilities? Like they must occur?
Yeah, so for example, for random mutation to occur, which is the driving force of natural selection, I always do that, natural selection, which is not even demonstrated anyway. So anyway, for random mutation to occur, you have to create these new proteins, which can then be harnessed by natural selection to become new organs or new different parts of whatever this new species is going to be. And to get that protein to be beneficial, there's so many ways, millions and millions of ways for it not to be beneficial. And the time scale you had in 3.85 billion years, I believe it is, it's just absurd to believe it happened that way. It's just a position you have to believe by ignoring any supernatural way. So this is the natural explanation, but the natural explanation is so absurd. I have to question people of intellect why you roll with it. Right, I was reading that if this was any matter other than God, that science would have been settled on this particular matter, because it's clear that in DNA and in the protein there's information, and we know from our human experience that information can only come from an intelligent agency, and this intelligent agency has to obviously precede this. And so when you look in all aspects of science should lead you to God, undoubtedly. Because it's the only explanation. The supernatural explanation is the only explanation, because the natural explanation is so absurd. But because you put yourself in this camp of natural explanations, you have to go with this absurdity. And my question is, why? Why do you go with this absurdity? Why? All
right, so that'd be a lot to unpack there. So, for one, I'm guessing you don't accept evolution based off that comment.
Well, you can't get evolution without random mutation creating these beneficial proteins.
I just want to make a point on the evolution thing as well. So we do accept evolution to a certain degree. So for example, like even theistically, we believe we all came from Adam alayhi salam, and there's no way of describing or explaining all the different races or all the different types of people you see around the planet without some form of change occurring in the species over time. What we deny is that Adam alayhi salam
Got this guy knocking about, hanging around backstage.
Look who it is. Look who it is.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. See, what we deny is that Adam alayhi salam had an ancestor. There came any, but we don't necessarily have a problem with evolution per se. We just have a problem with making the claim that Adam was, came from something else, or that he wasn't a human, or that he was a lesser being. We consider him a miraculous creation. Whatever happened outside of him, so other things could have evolved, other animals, other creatures could have developed however they developed. We don't have an opinion on that per se. It's just specifically with regards to the human.
It sounds like Hamza does when he's referring to natural selection in general rather than just human evolution.
No. I'm saying to you, your basis of evolution has to start with a random mutation. And you can't even kickstart it with that. Forget natural selection.
The problem is abiogenesis in origin.
Okay, so you don't mean evolution, you mean abiogenesis.
Yeah, because evolution.
Abiogenesis and the evolution of hominids.
No. He's saying specifically. I'm just saying specifically abiogenesis. He's saying you've got to have information for you to then have this natural selection, random mutation, natural selection.
So I'm referring to evolution of hominids too, off of Yusuf's reference to saying humans came from.
But you basically started midway. We're starting at the beginning. How'd you get to that point?
Oh, like how? I'm not familiar with abiogenesis much at all.
No, but you have to. You can't just say I'm not familiar with it. You can't just assume it happened and then move on. If you can't explain that and the probabilities and the absurdity of accepting it happened naturally, that's my question. Why are you accepting that? Do you the idea? Like I said, the billion monkeys on a billion typewriters for a billion years wrote the works of Shakespeare. You don't believe that, do you?
A billion years, a billion monkeys with
a billion monkeys. Okay, I'll give you the options. William Shakespeare wrote William Shakespeare, or billion monkeys on a billion typewriters typing for a billion years wrote William Shakespeare.
I'm not familiar with the probabilities, but I do.
You're even thinking about it, aren't you?
I'd say the
you're even considering the possibility. You're in your mind. You're imagining, all those monkeys, and they could hit the keys. And please, don't insult. Oh, please, don't do it.
Dylance,
I don't know what you're referencing there, but no. Okay, I'll ignore the abiogenesis part and delve into the absurdity thing you're referencing. So why would you say natural?
So explain why you take that absurd probability of in 3.85 billion years through random mutation that these proteins could have been created beneficial and then utilized by natural selection to cause things to become evolved.
So I'm curious, when you refer to natural processes being absurd, and
I'm saying random mutation is supposed to be what creates these. Look, you can't get natural selection until you get these new proteins. You can't get these new proteins out of thin air. So something has to mutate to create this new thing. And then this new thing, if it's beneficial, gets harnessed by natural selection and utilized. Now, the point is this: the probability of that thing being beneficial, the probability is absurd in that time frame as well. So it's like, I'll give you an example. If you were to get a bike thief and he goes to a bike lock, it's got 10 combinations on it, yeah? So just 10 combinations, 10 numbers. And that bike thief goes at that lock. Every 10 seconds, he tries a new combination. Yeah, it will take him a lifetime just to accomplish 3%. Just to get 3%, it will take him over 100 years just to get to 3% of the possible combinations. So this is a problem you have when it comes to the random mutation creating positive proteins.
So I'm going to nitpick a little bit on how you're describing evolution. That's not what a mutation means. It has to do with genes changing over time, not proteins creating. That would be we need the proteins. No, I know mutation has to do with a genetic makeup changing over time. The proteins would have to do with amino acids, and whether that be self-replication like we see in non-organic matter or just amino acids forming.
What's random mutation?
So that's sequences and genetic code changing.
Just a quick comment there. So when you have DNA or RNA, right? You have a process of replication first. You have another strand, and then you have the set of the guanine, uracil, if it's RNA, adenine, etc. And then you have the process of translation where the protein comes. So you can have a different phenotype just by the process of translation of the protein, not necessarily change in the transcription from the RNA DNA.
Okay. Oh, so you're saying it does happen by mutation as well? Oh, I see mutation.
Yes, it will be considered mutation, depending on what you're talking about. But yeah, generally speaking, has to do with the gene set. You're right. But you can have just from the process of translation and having different protein. Because once that protein is now made by the process of translation, you can have a different phenotype, and eventually the makeup might be different later on. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I'm just
nitpicking. I wanted to add that.
Yeah, I gotcha. I'm trying to nitpick a little bit on the wordage she was using, but I wanted to get.
So can I have a question? So you're an atheist, yeah?
Yes.
You're right. Okay. Do you believe in abiogenesis?
I'm leaning towards it. Undecided.
Okay. If you're undecided, what are the two options?
We got abiogenesis and genesis.
Okay. So if genesis is the case, then what's the entailment to that?
That would be entailment to a god or to some other life, creating life.
Well, yeah, but you said God because obviously that would be an entailment if we don't accept an infinite regress of life.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, so really you should be sort of relatively agnostic in your position rather than an atheist.
Well, to be specific, I'd say I'm an agnostic atheist. Although, for philosophy, I guess it'd be better to say agnostic rather than atheist.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I tend to just say atheist because the question's going to get asked either way.
Yeah, but obviously being an atheist means you're holding on to a proposition. And if you're agnostic, it means you're holding on to a proposition without evidence, without warrant.
I wouldn't quite agree there.
So
not with that later part.
So, okay, but you would agree that atheism is a proposition. It's a belief proposition that there are no God or gods.
If you define it like that, sure.
Well, that's how atheism is defined in philosophy, isn't it?
Usually. But I'm trying to get back to Hamza's reference of the absurdity of a natural explanation.
Yeah. Fine. While Hamza's checking a few things, while he's checking those things, though, I just want to, obviously there's a few things that I wanted to point out. One, obviously, is that if you don't accept, if you're agnostic over abiogenesis, which means that basically you're not sure whether life came from lifelessness, then the other option would be in essence God. Yeah. Now, are you an empiricist, Dylance?
Not a hard empiricist, that's for sure.
Okay, but you believe that proposition should be justified through experience and empirical evidence?
Not all of them, no.
Okay, but most of them?
I take a mix of rationalism and empiricism.
Yeah, so do I. But so, for example, on this particular issue, then why would you lean towards abiogenesis if there is no empirical evidence for it?
Well, that's where I would deny that there's no empirical evidence.
Okay, so what empirical evidence do you have for abiogenesis?
I know very little about it. The only thing I can reference is a study done in, I want to say, I think it was 70s, of pretty much trying to simulate early Earth atmosphere.
Your experiment.
Sure. Let me see if I can find it.
It's funny. I'm reading about the 1970s right now.
Yeah, your Miller's experiment is. I think that's what you're referring to, which is to do with the synthesis of amino acids.
What was that first part?
Urey Miller's experiment.
Miller, yes.
Yeah,
that's his name. The Miller-Urey experiment. Here we are. Although, from what I remember, the how he proportioned the elements for the earliest atmosphere wasn't quite correct either.
Yeah, that's right. And also the fact that he didn't create life; he created stains of amino acids.
Yeah. Which we would say are the building blocks, at the least.
Well, yeah, but it's like saying that you're building a, 4-story building by creating a brick. It doesn't necessitate that you're going to create a 4-story building, especially the intricacies of a cell or life organism. Yeah. So I don't think
depending.
I don't think that's sufficient warrant to justify abiogenesis, creating amino acids, because we know amino acids in and of themselves are not sufficient for life. You need left-handed amino acids, so you don't just need amino acids, because what chemical processes will generally do is create right and left-handed chiral centers of amino acids. So you need to have left-handed amino acids because that's what we have in life. So you'd have to have a selection process regards to that. The second thing is that you'd have to have the amino acids connected in a particular chain in a very specific order. And we know amino acids are building blocks for proteins. They're not building blocks for deoxyribose nucleic acid or ribose nucleic acid. That's slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
So amino acid doesn't tell you about nucleotides, as an example, the formation of that. So there are real problems in terms of being able to synthesize life from lifelessness. Yeah, I think all of the general empirical evidence seems to suggest, and I understand that this isn't a definitive or even a necessarily strong argument for the belief in or existence of a creator, or it could be a strong argument. Yeah, but it's not. I'm not saying that you can't in the future come out with an experiment that does create life from lifelessness. What I'm saying is that the current evidence warrants us to say that actually we don't really have evidence for abiogenesis. We have evidence for biogenesis until we then demonstrate it in a laboratory conditions, or even through a theoretical model, potential theoretical model, which we don't even have either for that.
Are you saying a theoretical model for Genesis?
Abiogenesis.
Mm.
All observations is biogenesis, isn't it? All observations. All our experiments demonstrate how incredibly difficult and complex abiogenesis is, to the point that some people say it's just too complicated to even replicate in a laboratory controlled conditions. All of our science and knowledge in this current day and age, in the future it might be different, but in this current day and age, all of our expertise and science cannot replicate life from lifelessness.
I don't know enough about biology to argue with you on that.
Okay, fine.
He's picking holes in my biology.
But I'm just saying is that I'm not necessarily saying I'm right and you're wrong on this particular issue. All I'm saying is that if I was in your position and I'm looking at the body of evidence that I currently understand, I would be saying that actually my inclinations would be to biogenesis and therefore God, as opposed to abiogenesis and therefore atheism. I think I'd have stronger warrant to believe in God in that perspective.
Understandable, but I think that's pretty much what I was trying to get to earlier with Hamza.
Well, just before you, just one second,
circle.
Just 1 second. So you were talking about amino acids. So the building blocks for amino acids, which then go on to build up the protein, requires genetic information. Where does this come from?
Where does genetic information come from?
Yeah, for the amino acids to be the building blocks to proteins. Yes.
I'm unfamiliar with the process.
Random mutation. Okay, so that's where we are.
Yeah, so just really quickly on the biology of it, as Hamza sort of pointed out, is that you need RNA and DNA in order to produce proteins, and you need proteins in order to help to produce RNA, DNA. Yeah. Now there are some experiments that try to demonstrate some synthetic RNA. Yeah, but there is still this in principle problem, which is you've got to start somewhere. Is it the proteins that create the DNA? And then you have to try to account for how the protein synthesis takes place? Or is it the DNA that's created or RNA that's created that then accounts for the DNA? And therefore you have to account for a mechanism of RNA abiogenesis synthesis. Yeah, so it's created from lifelessness. So there's a lot of problems regards to that. All I'm saying, Dylance, is that I'm not saying these are necessarily explicit evidences for God. I'm just saying from your epistemic foundation, I would be if I were to adopt your epistemic foundation, I would think that actually the balance of the arguments would be for the theists in this perspective, as opposed to the atheists, where we understand the evidence at the moment. Yeah. Now you can say, well, I don't really know the science. Okay, that's fine.
No, it's that last statement that I've been trying to respond to. That's where I would disagree.
What's that?
In the end,
which one?
The end part of saying Genesis or explanation being God would have more backing than a natural explanation.
When we say God, don't think of a white man in a beard and on a cloud and all that.
Of course, some kind of.
We're talking about no. Let's put things in perspective at this point. We're not talking religion at this position. We're talking about science at this particular point in time. So what we're saying is the building blocks for the amino acids to build the proteins requires genetic information. So, and we know as human beings that from our experience, information is from an intelligent agency. You don't get information any other way. So,
how are you defining information?
How are you?
So Dylance, before we go into that, how we define information, if you remember the beginning of my question, I asked you a question, do you believe in abiogenesis? And you said, well, I incline towards it. And then I said, well, what's the opposite of that? And you said Genesis or biogenesis. And then I said, what's the entailment of that? And you said God. Yeah. So all I'm saying is that on the basis of the evidence that we have, the empirical evidence that we have, yeah. And again, I can concede that in the future, the evidence might change on this particular subject. But as the evidence as we know it so far, why do you incline towards abiogenesis when the evidence isn't there? The evidence is for biogenesis currently.
So that's what I would disagree with.
So you think the evidence is for abiogenesis? That's where the science is.
No, I'd say I'm unfamiliar with the evidence for abiogenesis. I would say there's some. I wouldn't say there's much. I would say there's also evidence for biogenesis of life arriving from other life.
So where is this genetic information coming from?
So, one question at a time, Hamza. I'll get to
you
in
in
just
ask
a
that
moment.
Question.
Yeah.
Where's the genetic information coming from?
I'll answer you in just a moment. Don't worry. So my issue with that would be, if for a natural explanation, would be saying abiogenesis. For a supernatural explanation, we would say God. And that is where I would disagree with the idea of supernatural. But that would be in the end my issue, and why I'd say abiogenesis or natural explanation rises above. All
right, what's your explanation for the genetic information?
So
where's that coming from?
Have you been saying for life, for evolution, or abiogenesis?
For new proteins to be formed.
You're talking about abiogenesis.
Yeah, that would be abiogenesis.
Am I? I thought I'm talking about. I'm giving him the cell.
Oh, you're giving him the cell now.
I'm giving him a cell. I'm letting him have it. I'm giving him what God's done already, right? And letting him work from that, right? So you've got your cell, and how does that become something else? How do the amino acids build the proteins? Because you need genetic information. Where's that coming from?
So you're asking about evolution. How does genetic information change?
No, where does the genetic information come from that helps amino acids build the building blocks for proteins?
So, like, where did it all originate from?
Where did the genetic information come from?
Yeah, where did adenosine, guanine, uracil, all that stuff? Where did it come from?
Where did it come from?
That's what I'm saying. I'm too unfamiliar with abiogenesis to say.
Wait, this is not abiogenesis.
You're asking for the origin of organic material, no?
No, I'm giving you organic material. I'm giving you the cell.
Oh, you're saying, like, how does it change?
You can have a cell. I'll give you a cell, and to build new amino acids and building blocks for the new protein, it needs genetic code. Where does that come from?
So like, how does it change from genetic code to new genetic code? So just
how is this new genetic code generated? Yes.
Yeah, so mutation.
Random mutation. Random mutation.
I'm too unfamiliar to not agree with you.
Well, it has to be random, isn't it? Unless it's deliberate. Is it deliberate mutation?
I wouldn't say deliberate, no.
Well, it's random, isn't it? All right. And what are the odds that this cell will randomly mutate to something beneficial?
Moderately low, I imagine.
I just give you the example of billion monkeys.
A billion monkeys?
On a billion
Oh,
typewriters.
same.
Yeah,
Oh,
I wouldn't say moderately.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Exponentially
in the time frame as well. So not only do you have to get the odds of it being a beneficial protein, it has to keep doing it in a specific time frame, and it's just not there randomly. But you have to, and the problem you've got is because you've tied yourself in a bow and you're ignoring the idea of an intelligent agency behind the universe, you're stuck in your naturalism, and you have to go with this. You haven't got an option. So my question, it goes back to my original question, and what Sharif's been pointing at. Why do you go with that?
And that would be my same answer earlier. Is I see a natural explanation still being more probable than a supernatural.
Well, it wouldn't be though. It wouldn't be though. It's more probable. Yeah. There's intelligent agency behind it.
No, because that comes with an additional assumption. Unless you're going to say that probability doesn't exist and it's necessary.
Why do you go with it? Why do you think this explanation is more probable?
So, I'm sorry. I'm going to respond to Hamza's. I think I confused him a little bit with what I just said, if you don't mind, Sharif. So my reference there was to mean, I think we would both agree it's a probability either way, Hamza, whether it's a god or not.
No. It's not a probability either way. It's William Shakespeare wrote Shakespeare, a billion monkeys wrote it.
No. So
it's not 50-50, mate.
Wait, no. Okay, you misunderstood me. Let me be more clear then. So like under a naturalistic view of evolution, that's not like theistic evolution, we'd say it's a probability for genetic code to change via mutation, and it's random.
Yeah, but it's impossible.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. So then, like, for theistic evolution, which from what Yusuf said earlier, y'all agree with, correct, still?
Okay.
Just making sure I'm on the same page?
Let me make it easy for you, so you don't have to guess at what we're doing.
Okay.
We believe in intelligent agency, can change things at will, add things at will, do things at will from nothing. Yeah, no issue. If he wants to change the cell, wants to do this, wants to do that, no problem. You don't believe that. You believe somehow it happens accidentally.
I'm guessing from nothing is a euphemism.
No, it's from his power. So there's no like he doesn't require something to already exist in order to make something new. He just says be in it, and it is. So that's what we mean. So it's from his power. So he's there. He's in existence, and he can create.
Let me just read something. Let me just read something from my book. You should read this book. I think it will do you benefit. Yeah, see it? Return of the God Hypothesis.
All right. 1 second. I've been cleaning this whole time. Let me get back to the computer.
What?
Nice multitasking. He's been spring cleaning.
Yeah.
Nice.
Did you see it?
Okay, yeah, I saw it.
All right, let me read this to you.
Sure.
So this guy, he wrote another book called Signature in the Cell, which I need to read as well. Yeah, he says he performed updated calculations of the probability of the origin of even a single functional protein or corresponding functional gene by chance alone. My calculations are based upon recent experiments in molecular biology establishing the extreme rarity of functional proteins in relation to the total number of possible arrangements of amino acids corresponding to a protein of a given length. Taking that and several of the relevant independent factors into account, I show that the probability of producing even a single functional protein of modest length, which is 150 amino acids, by chance alone in a prebiotic environment stands at no better than a vanishingly small 1 chance in 10 to the power of 164. An inconceivably small probability. To put this number in perspective, recall that physicists estimate there are only 10 to the power of 80 elementary particles in the entire universe. So that's the numbers we're talking about here.
1 times 10 to the 24?
10 to the power of 164.
10 to the power of 164?
How would you say that? 10 with 164 a little above it. Well, come on.
Yeah, just 10 to the power of 164, yeah.
Yeah, 10 to the power of 164 is the probability of one functional protein.
Is that Ramsusen's study that he published, or is that a different person?
This is a different person.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with it then.
Okay, but the point here is this. That's the probability of one functional protein.
Oh, wait.
Which is... Asadullah, got a hat on, man.
I walked away from... I came to the computer for just a moment. Dylance, stop using Hamza for your channel's content. Oh dear.
I know. I saw that. I was just checking to see.
Sadish Snake. The only content my channel has is like some Apex videos I found crazy. I don't think I'm going to be advertising that, but so I would be very interested.
Advertising this.
Sorry.
I said I can't see you advertising this.
So, Dylance, one thing that I just want you. Oh, is he left?
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, that's a shame. One thing I wanted him to.
I think he lost connection. I didn't kick him. Must be doing the Uber or something. Pulled the plug out. Pulled the wrong plug out. The Hoover so.
What I wanted to highlight with Dylance is that he's coming in with a very strong metaphysical commitment to naturalism, and that's what's persuading him. He's already presupposing everything is natural.
Oh, he's still here. I think he.
Is that
you? Is that you, Asadullah?
Yeah, it looks.
Bring it in the mic.
There we go.
My bad.
Hello, Dylan.
There we are. So, it crashed, stupid thing. So,
Sorry.
So I would be very interested to see that probability, Hamza.
Well, I recommend this guy, Stephen Meyer. He's got a book called Signature in the Cell. Just get it and read it.
Signature of the Cell?
Signature in the Cell.
Oh, in the Cell. Okay.
And then you've got the other book, Darwin's Doubt. Because you've got bigger problems than this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Cambrian explosion is just something that just blows it all out the water anyway.
Oh.
Well, that's another. I don't want to smack you with everything, but that's something else that mashes up the whole idea of what you're saying. But like I said, this is just biology, chemistry. Chemistry. I know the people in the chat know. If I go into the readings, start reading about carbon, it's not explainable naturally. The probabilities of carbon is just mind blowing. And then fine tuning. You've got the science of physics. It's all against you. You've got nothing. You just got assumed positions that you're hoping are correct based on absurd probabilities. Because I used to have this saying, right? Christians' minds are in a box because they can't think too much about Christianity because otherwise it will collapse in front of their eyes. And I thought atheist minds were out the box. They were rational, reasonable, intellectual, logical, but their spirituality was in a box. I'm honest with you. I mean, I've concluded that atheist minds are in a bigger box. They really, really are, because you're actually using this scientific method, and yet you're stopping at its conclusions. You're ignoring its conclusions, and it's a kind of madness.
Well, so far you've pretty much just been saying these probabilities are very large, so therefore God.
No, we're saying therefore not accidental. That's what we're saying.
So then they're actually not probabilities; they are designed.
Yes, would have to be.
Right, which of course that's what I'd be disagreeing.
Like I said, if God wasn't the matter involved in with this particular thing, science would be settled on the matter. There wouldn't be an issue. But because the alternative of the natural absurdity is you have to believe in a supernatural intelligent agency, you're heads so buried in the sand. You have to because you don't even accept that as a premise. You don't even accept it as a hypothesis. You have to put your head into the billion monkeys in a typewriter, man. And
Hamza,
embarrassing.
If my head was buried in the sand, why would I be here talking to you?
Well, I've not heard you once yet say, "Oh wow, really?" He said, "What? Really? I'm supposed to believe that? I never realized it was such a ridiculous probability. Maybe I should rethink my position." I heard you say that, mate.
Would you like me to?
Okay.
Like I've said, hey, that's really interesting.
I don't care. I'm just telling you straight. You've been told so many things today that you're not aware of, and you're still acting like you're right.
No,
it's God.
To be fair, Dylance, I think he's trying to work out these things himself.
I'm trying to just listen in. I'm confused on why Hamza thinks I'm saying I must be right. Like I'm trying to hear your perspective, Hamza.
Has your position been changed during this conversation?
Yeah.
You've definitely made me want to look into things. Yes.
Oh, that's good then. Then job done. We're happy with that.
Why do you think I asked for the book title?
Yeah, that's good.
I miss meals. Okay. But
Dylance, going back to that other point that I was mentioning, which is that I was saying when you left, so I'll just repeat. Yeah, is I think you have a presupposition to naturalism, and as a result, that sort of informs how you view the evidence. Like I said, is the evidence for Abajan, and Abajan is just an example. It's not like the argument for God or anything. It's just an example that a lot of people who are materialists and have a predisposition to naturalism have to affirm abiogenesis, because the only other alternative is, in essence, you're going to regress back to an intelligent, necessary God creator being who's alive. Yeah, as Yusuf mentioned earlier in the point about the contingency argument.
Unless you go with like fatalism or something, yeah.
Even fatalism would result in the same conclusion, that you'd have to have some sort of necessary eternal foundation to it.
Fatalism is like the position that everything is necessary. There is no contingent thing.
But even like I said, even if everything is necessary, you're still going back to a necessary foundation.
Yeah, which I guess you could go with like Oppie's view of a necessary initial state or something.
Right. But if you were to go to Oppie's view, why would you go to Oppie's view, just out of interest? I know Oppie's view.
Make sure I'm not, there we go. With like the fatalism perspective, which I don't like at all, by the way.
Oppie's view is not fatalism, but go on.
Or like, why would I prescribe to Oppie's view in general?
Yeah.
Oh, well, like in the end, I'd say it assumes less entities.
Right. Okay. So you would come to a conclusion that things are contingent, because that's what Oppie does. Possible beings use modal logic. He comes to the fact that there has to be a necessary being, necessary foundation to reality.
Yep.
Yeah. And that the necessary foundation to reality is the cause of all contingent beings. And the necessary being acted internally by random chance.
What was that end bit?
So Oppie's view would be is that this was an indeterminate state of creation.
I don't know if he'd say it's indeterminate. I would imagine he says it's necessary for this initial state to expand.
No, he says indeterminate.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. He had
I'm too unfamiliar with his perspective.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'm going to delve back into the biology and Big Bang cosmology side of things.
Yeah. So this is more philosophy, but so Graham Oppie, what he does, the problem is that he's trying to posit less entities. But what you do, and you would appeal to Occam's razor when you've got two equally explanatory explanations, yeah, and they both have an equal explanation of the data that we have, then you would adopt the simpler of the two, the one that posits less ontologies, yeah. The problem is that by just affirming an indeterminate, naturalistic, necessary state, you're not providing an explanation. It's not an explanation. But if you were to say that the indeterminate necessary state was a will, then you're providing a greater explanatory power.
I wouldn't quite agree with that, because you can still add an explanation for why the initial state expanded for a naturalistic worldview. Like, if you go with inflation theory, you say like quantum fluctuations or other jazz, or that inflation has never stopped in general.
Yeah, but Dylance, I'm talking about Graham Oppie's view. That's what you appealed to. So I'm just saying, if we take Graham Oppie's view, you can't say that a necessary being without a will is equal in explanatory power to a necessary being with a will. They're not equal. Necessary being with a will is greater in terms of explanatory power, because when we identify that something acts indeterminately, we're identifying the will of an agent.
Oh, so you're saying the theistic explanation is more explanatory than non-theistic?
Yeah, a necessary being with a will, which would be a god in a basic sense of the word, that would be a greater explanatory power than a necessary being without a will that acts indeterminately. Because indeterminacy is how we identify something has a will. Let me give you a basic example of this, because it might be a bit confusing to the audience as well. Imagine you had a ball rolling down the hill, So it's moving. But you know it's moving because acting according to a force outside of itself, gravity. Yeah. Now imagine you had a ball on a flat piece of surface and the ball starts moving around. Yeah, it's indeterminate in its action. What are you going to what are you going to infer regards to the ball, what it's doing?
Well, something's likely acting upon it.
What if there's nothing acting upon it?
If there's nothing acting upon it, but it's moving?
Yeah, let's say it's got little legs and it's moving.
No, I'd say it's in some way causing itself to move.
Right. And what do we normally infer when you say something's causing itself to move?
That it has some kind of innate potential.
A will.
I would disagree with that.
Oh, right. So let's say you see a human being and he's walking around. Are you going to infer a will? Or are you going to infer...
For a conscious agent? Yeah.
Yeah, but how would you infer he's got a conscious...
So, like, I guess a reference for, like, something non-conscious causing something. You could pretty much just say, like, I guess what would be a good explanation? Something simple. I guess you could say, like, inherent randomness if you take a Copenhagen interpretation. But I'm trying to think of a simple example. I've been delving too much into quantum physics lately. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Quantum interpretation, Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics doesn't help in this situation.
No.
Yeah?
Well, sort of, because I'm saying what causes it wouldn't have to be conscious to enact change. There would be inherent randomness. So if you say, like,
it's not, let's park that point to the side. Yeah, I'll explain that if we get a chance to explain it later.
Sure.
I want it on a very basic level. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you see a thing, like let's say a baby sees its mother acting, the baby automatically assumes it has the mother, or as it gets maybe to a toddler age, starts to assume that the mother has what we say, quote unquote, a mind of its own.
Can I just add to this as well? There's been experiments where they show people just like random shapes doing things, and intuitively a very, very large percentage of people will sort of impose a story to what's going on, and it's just shapes. It's not like characters, and all the shapes are doing is just like moving about. But when they're seeing it, they visualize a story going on, and that these things have some sort of that they're making choices, and that
there's some kind of story within.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're making me want to delve into psychology again too.
No, it's not about psychology.
Oh, yeah, continue.
Let's let Asadullah have a say. Do you know what I think would be good for Dylance, Sharif?
Go.
Take him on tap.
Okay then.
I think he'd be good there.
Enough for us.
Pow. Plug in our other podcast.
On the
Have you heard of Thought Adventure podcast, Dylance?
I think it'd be good for you.
What's it about?
We go into a lot of philosophy and these conversations that you're having. It's me, Sharif, and then a brother called Jake and a brother called Abdul. It's similar,
but it's nicer.
Yeah, we're really chill.
Less lovely comments in this comment section.
I don't know about the comment. We never read the comments, bro.
Every so often I like walk across the screen and I see ping and I can't help but read it. And then I wish I didn't.
Rule one, just ignore the comments.
So that's what I would say at this point. Let Asadullah say his point, and then I think personally, you're too nice in the arena at the moment.
Oh my!
I think Thought Adventure podcast would be brilliant for you, because you look like you're willing to open your mind, and these boys will open your mind. Asadullah, do you want to?
Well, first I want to ask if it was okay for me to bring in because I don't follow this methodology, this approach that's been going on for the last. I mean, I don't necessarily go against it, but I have a different approach. I was wondering if it's okay, or I don't want to undermine conversation or anything.
Yeah, no,
let's hear it, man.
Go for it.
Okay, well, I don't care about probabilities. I don't care about any of this stuff. I think that the reality is, I think that that probabilities are relevant, and I think that for me personally, from my approach, I think that also the word randomness doesn't mean anything, because I don't think humans can actually perceive what is random. They don't understand what random. Random is for me is just a word people use to say I don't know what the cause is. That's for me what word randomness means, because I think that we're intuitively see purpose and design everywhere. So even like for me, like somebody says, well, I have a design argument. For me, that argument doesn't work, because it's already telling us what we can only see. That's the only thing we can see is design and all this stuff. So for me, I take a more, I guess you could, psychological, pragmatic approach to this, where I think that at the end of the day, we can talk about probabilities all day long, but as a human being, you can't perceive what is not designed. Like there's no way that your mind can really interpret randomness. Like that doesn't make any sense to the mind. That never will. So for me, it's just like I don't see how you cannot come to the conclusion that there's a rationality or a logic or behind everything, because the mind doesn't really go anywhere else. I think you have to really tell yourself that it shouldn't go there, but it's always in the back of your mind, because that's what we have naturally. That's what we're naturally inclined to. So for me, I don't see the point.
So you pretty much be saying like our intuition to think everything is designed or has an inherent cause should be what we trust, rather than this idea of randomness.
There's no way for the mind to say that there is something that's random, because that's more like a placeholder for saying I don't know what the cause is, I don't know what the purpose is, but your brain will still go there. Like, even when we talk about something that's random, we always have to put teleological language, because we can't understand it otherwise. Like the word randomness, I cannot perceive any randomness. That's my personal view. I mean,
I would somewhat disagree with you, because I would say it's more intuitive to definitely believe everything has a cause. But I would disagree in saying that we can't seemingly like understand or like work with randomness, like true randomness, I'd say.
Well, if you could understand what randomness was, then it's no longer random, because you understand what it is. It's no longer randomness. In means like, we don't know exactly how those things came together. Like if I throw dice in the air and it lands on a certain, well, we could say that's random from a relative point of view. It's sort of like saying, okay, well, in context of my limited perspective here, but if we went through like all the physics of everything, we could actually determine why it landed that way.
Very true.
So there's no real randomness. That's my point. Is like there's not really anything random.
Which it's funny, because I've been delving too far down like the quantum physics rabbit hole. So like I guess if you're familiar with that at all, it would pretty much say like there is inherent randomness on a quantum scale.
Can I give you an explanation why there wouldn't be, and why I think they make this mistake? I think a lot of it's...
I'll let Yusuf go now. I'm done.
It's not going to be much of an addition. It's going to be quite brief, but I think the biggest problem with why they sort of attribute fundamental randomness on the quantum level is because they are reduced to discussing this area in terms of mathematics, and mathematics reduces things to like a really simplified version of what they truly are. So like, for example, if we're talking about pens in terms of mathematics, we might say this is one pen, this is another pen, and there may be many things that we sort of miss out on what makes them different. And so say there's an
one's
alien
green,
sort of,
one's blue, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And but that can be missed if there's certain information that you've not picked up on. And so when it comes to sort of the quantum level, they're doing this. They've reduced the particles to these sort of equations and this mathematics, and they can't see what reason one particle or one part of the particle might deteriorate rather than the other. And because that information is missing, because they are having to sort of communicate and deal with this on a mathematical level, they can't see what's causing one particular particle to deteriorate rather than the other. And so that fundamental randomness can't be proven per se because of the problems of associating mathematics with reality in an absolute sense and the problems that entails. I'm sorry if it seems like I might go into a bit of a tangent on this, but I've been very interested in the subject. I would sort of agree with you on that. I do think it definitely does simplify like the ontology of these quantum realms by quite a bit. But
I'm gonna reference like probably some things that are themselves a bit messy to further explain, but like pretty much what you were talking about was the idea of hidden variables, like the idea that there's information we don't see.
Yes.
Like there's something more to the system that we just can't see, but it is actually deterministic, which was actually Einstein's idea for quite a while, because he very much disliked the idea of inherent randomness and especially quantum entanglement. But with that, pretty much boils down to is the idea of hidden variables both either doesn't work, or it's totally contradictory to think of, or it doesn't work with our observations. Or
do you think this is a tap conversation? This is a tap conversation. So,
Yeah.
Khalil, do you want to add anything, bro?
I would love to have you on tap because
Yeah,
I really want to discuss this.
We're like a filter for tap.
Dylan, can you email us?
Sure.
So if you, I'll just give you my email address.
For one moment, let me bring up Gmail before I forget your
Khalil,
email.
do you want to add anything, bro?
No, really, I think you brothers did a wonderful job, mashallah. Just thank you, Dylan, for being such a gentleman.
Yeah, I've really liked you
looking forward to the next conversation next time.
There's a severe contrast in your etiquettes to some of our previous guests. So thank you.
No problem. It almost got heated, but I think we dodged that.
Yeah.
No, you took the tree shaking well. Don't worry.
Have you, Dylance, really quickly, have you looked into von Neumann-Wigner's interpretation of quantum mechanics?
Sharif, he's called Dylan.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's Dylance.
So they've been saying Dylance the whole time. I gave up correcting.
Dylan.
Yeah.
Well, you do put Dylance in your name.
Dylan CE.
Dylan. Oh, Dylan CE. Okay,
That works too.
Dylan. Yeah. So von Neumann-Wigner's interpretation of quantum mechanics.
It rings a bell, but for the life of me, I can't think of what the interpretation was right now.
Okay, no problem. Don't worry. We'll discuss it on top.
It's gonna come to me as soon as like I close out of this.
Yeah.
That always happens.
No problem.
I've put my email in the
message
private
chat. Have you put your thing?
My email's in the private chat. Contact.ponderingsoul@gmail.com. That's my personal
Sure thing. You want me to just send you an email saying this is Dylan?
Yeah, and we'll organize another conversation.
No, you better say an email saying this is Dylan, so we won't know who you are.
Touche.
Take care.
All right, y'all too. See ya.
All right, take care,
Dylan. Okay. I
yeah,
think
I
this
just
is
wanna
to the
clarify
Muslim.
that
Sorry, bro. Go on.
No, I mean no disrespect when I say that that's not my method and stuff. I just want to make clear.
No, it's cool. It's cool. It's different ways of doing stuff.
I see the point of it. I see how it really does. Certain people have certain mentalities and certain beliefs, and I think that it's very effective. Just that, that's just not where I would go, and so I don't want to say.
I love your chop them off at the knees route. Honestly,
you don't need to keep prefacing it with like an apology and things like that. It's fine. There's different paths.
Because,
this is your flex.
Interpreting, and the reason I'm saying that, because some people are interpreting in the chat I've read that I'm undermining, and I'm not trying to.
No.
I have a different approach.
But I said a lot. I didn't see
Rule one.
I didn't see your point actually contradicting really to the other points that the brothers are making. My point, because what you're saying is that intuitively we see purpose, we see patterns within nature. And if we intuitively see that, then even if we see something quote unquote random or quote unquote without explanation, we're still going to apply an explanation to it. Now the question is, what is the foundational level of explanation? Well, obviously it's going to have to be God for that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a necessary being, because then you can make sense of every other explanation within the universe. So yeah, I don't think it was. I think it's a very good point, mashallah. And I think when people really understand that, especially for atheists under a materialistic paradigm, when they understand that materialism doesn't necessitate laws, patterns, it doesn't necessitate comprehension, that the universe is comprehensible. None of these things are necessary for a universe, but they're necessary for us to understand the universe, and they're necessary for us to be able to operate within a universe. If that's the case, then you need a foundation to sort of give it that that pattern, that ability to be in a particular way. And so you are going to have to appeal to something transcendent to the material to give that.
Yep. I'm going to bring the sister on. I think she's a Muslim, but because we don't get many sisters, they're going to allow her. I don't know what she's going to come with, though.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I have been like watching Speaker's Corner for about, I think, 3-4 years. And I'm subhanallah fascinated that how Prophet Muhammad's Ummah is like not sitting inside the houses and practicing. They are also worried about other human beings like us. And Brother Hamza, I am really subhanallah, the patience that you people put in Speaker's Corner, and the point, like the heart really warms up with your effort. And I really wanted to say that when we read Quran is the book that like gives us, because Allah has made human beings curious people. So and we are so genius, like we have all the terms, all of the sophisticated terms, and the knowledge that we have gained over the period of living life. So Quran, like it's the crux that it has all the history, that where did we come from, and it brings us to the present, and then it connects us to the things which will happen when we will be in front of our Allah. So it's such a thing that like going into the very, very deep things, we should realize that how Quran is like I think it is the only book who tells you that what is going to come in the future, how are we going to talk to our God when he's going to ask us the questions. Then we will, I like it really gives me that humans will tell God to send us back, and now they have seen the God and they would do whatever the God was saying, which is in our present. So this was the point that I wanted to tell.
Thank you for your kind words, my sister. Jazakallah khairan. Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Salam alaikum. Mashallah.
Joshua looks ready for it. What's happening, mate?
Oh.
Up. Is it ready for a fight, man? What's going on? Josh, turn off your you're muted, mate.
It's it's frozen.
Oh, frozen.
You're frozen, mate.
Oh.
Damn,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
I think we've got you now.
I don't know if we've got him. Switch off your camera. You might get better. Switch off your camera. It might take less power for your wheel.
Someone said
what are you using?
Someone said in the comments, Joshua turned into Elsa. He's frozen.
Yo, man,
Joshua.
this wasn't meant to be.
No, we can hear you now.
Yeah, it's much better.
What do you want?
No, we can't hear him at all now.
Oh, come on, Joshua. You got so excited.
Go.
People need to invest in Ethernet cables, man.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Yo, I'll try on my other computer, please.
All right, jump back on your computer.
All right.
Yeah, we can't hear a word you're saying.
All right. Rob, forget you, Rob, mate. You're not coming on.
Wait. Which one's Rob now?
Rob's Tony Soprano. You want it?
Is he the one that was going on tap about
Ray?
Oh, was that Ray? Oh, that was Ray.
Oh, I got Ray here. Do you want Ray?
No.
Ray's
no,
here as well.
Ray.
Do you want Ray or do you want Rob?
Because Ray was trying to make a point, and he shared an article from Islam QA. And when you read the article from Islam QA, I think I saved it just so I could read it to him.
I think Ray does my head in though, because he just misquotes everything.
Yeah, basically he was trying to sort of make this case.
Oh, Teeth and Bone. Was it Teeth and Bone last time he came with?
That was on your one, yeah, last couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I'm not having Ray again.
No.
But I just wanted to read something from the very article that he shared.
Forget Ray.
Because he was basically trying to make the case that there's some sort of anthropomorphized God in Islam, and the Islam QA tries to argue for an anthropomorphized like physical being. And it's and in the article it says, right, yeah. So Imam And this is the very article he shared to try to, as if he'd made some sort of victory by sharing this. This is what it says. And in that very article, it said, Imam Abu Jafar Muhammad ibn Jarir at-Tabari, may Allah have mercy on him, said, if someone were to say, what is the proper approach with regard to the meaning of these attributes that you have mentioned, some of which are mentioned in the book of Revelation of Allah, may he be glorified and exalted. So it's talking about the attributes of Allah that, you know, that can be quite controversial. So the mention of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's face and his hands, etc. It says that there is nothing like unto him, and he's the all-hearer, the all-seer. So we affirm all of the meanings that we said are mentioned in the reports of the Quran and the Revelation according to their apparent meaning, and we reject any likening of him to his creation. Hence we say, may he be glorified and exalted, hears all sounds, but not through a hole in an ear or through any physical faculty, like those of the sons of Adam, alayhi salam. Similarly, he sees all people with vision that is not like the vision of the sons of Adam, alayhi salam, which is a physical faculty of theirs. He has two hands, a right hand and fingers, but not in the physical sense. Rather, his two hands are outstretched, bestowing blessings upon creation, not withholding good. And he has a countenance or a face, but it is not like the faces of the sons of Adam, alayhi salam, that are made of flesh and blood. We say that he smiles upon whomever he wills of his creation, but we do not say that he is showing teeth like a human smile, and he descends every night to the lowest heaven. So the very article that he shared to try to make this sort of anthropomorphic case refutes him. It clearly says what we were saying on that day. And he kept going into the comments afterwards, like we were trying to avoid it. So I've read the very article that you shared and told people to Google in the chat. And it was an evidence against you in the end, which is funny because you do this a lot, Ray. You do this a lot. You often quote things which often end up being evidences against you. It gets a bit frustrating.
All right.
What happens when you're lazy and you don't actually read?
Yeah.
Salam. Yeah. So I'm coming today with the respectful greeting because I was given a bit of a told that I wasn't being respectful. So I just say salam to the panel and to my brothers and sisters in humanity.
Wa alaikum.
Okay, so let's get to the topic straight away. So what I want to ask you guys is, if we look for the definition of the word incantation, we can see it means like spells or sorcery. And what I want to ask you guys is, should a prophet of God be making up his own rules in regard to this kind of activity? Yeah, that's the question, Hamza. That's the question.
Sorry, which activity?
Yeah, so incantation, spells, sorcery, that type of thing. Should a prophet of God be dabbling in that sort of thing?
What do you mean?
I don't get the question, honestly.
Okay, this is. I'll give you Rob's MO. He comes on with a stupid, obvious question that we should all say no to. And then when you say no to it, then he goes, why then in this hadith?
Just get to the point. So what's the hadith that you've got a problem with?
Yeah, what you got today?
Where are you going with this? Well,
okay, so
just get to it.
Okay, I'll stop messing around. You know,
I want Asadullah to chop him at the knees, though. You're going to chop him at the knees, man.
No, look, Mr. Ponders, I like you a lot. I'm not messing around because this is a matter of salvation, my brother. This is a matter of salvation, my brother. This is your eternity, my brother.
Let's get to it then.
Yeah, good. Right. So why is it in Sahih Muslim? I think it's I've got the reference, but I think it's 2199. Prophet Muhammad rightfully forbid incantations. But then we see in that exact hadith, he allows it again. What?
Right. So
what?
What's the hadith? What's the hadith?
Okay, so the hadith, right? If I've got to give me it's Sahih Muslim 2199 E for egg. Echo.
Read it then.
At the Book of Greetings. So the one that's come up for that, Jabir reported Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam prohibited incantation. Then the people of Amr bin Hazm came to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's messenger and said, we know an incantation which we use for curing the sting of the scorpion, but you have prohibited it. They recited the words of the incantation before him, whereupon he said, I do not see any harm in it. So he who amongst you is competent to do good to his brother should do that.
What's the problem?
So we can see that he initially prohibited it because we shouldn't be doing this. We should be looking to the Most High God to protect us, not for spells, not for magic. You show me anywhere in the Bible God allowed that of the old school prophets. He didn't. You know, he didn't allow that in the Bible. So why is Muhammad doing that? What's that about?
Do you know what?
You think I'm gonna? You think I can honestly? You think I can honestly follow a guy who allows this kind of shirk?
Right. What was the incantation?
Do you know what incantation is? First of all.
Yes, it's spells or sorcery. It's disgusting.
No,
absolutely disgusting.
Do you know what did the Prophet recommend to do? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. What do you understand from it? What did he ask us to do? Ask them to do?
He rightfully prohibited it. He rightfully prohibited it. Then he allowed it again. He went back to it just because of pressure from his peers. That was wrong. That was wrong, brothers.
Pressure from his peers.
Where are you getting this from?
I'm getting it from the Hadith.
You're not getting that from the Hadith. You've added that in.
No, I've
Where does it say pressure? Where does it say pressure from his peers? It doesn't. You added that. You added that.
No, because there was
what was the incantation? No, you added that. You added that. End off.
No, there was a group. There was a group who came to him and put pressure on him. It's obvious from the Hadith, and there were different reasons. There's other Hadiths which show different reasons why they wanted to bring it back.
There's no pressure in there.
There is pressure. You can see there's pressure. He buckled to the pressure.
No, stop. You're lying.
And that goes against.
We know an incantation. Let me read it again. We know an incantation which we use for the curing of the sting of the scorpion, but you have prohibited it. They recited the words. They're not even arguing. All they've said is we know an incantation. No, they've said we know an incantation that we use for curing the sting of the scorpion, but you have prohibited it. They recited it, and then they recited it. There's no argument. There's no. They just say it. They come to him and they recite it. That's all. And he says that's fine. Now, what is it? What's the incantation? What was it?
You've missed out the end of the Hadith. You've missed out the end of the Hadith where he says, if somebody can do it, he says, if somebody can do it, go ahead. What? That's disgusting. That is disgusting.
No.
That is shirk. That is shirk. Deny that's not shirk. Deny that's not shirk. Deny that's not shirk.
That's not shirk.
He said.
Yes, it is.
So listen.
Yes, it is.
Listen. He says. You lied again. You said, so he who can do it, do it. No, he says, he who is amongst you is competent to do good to his brother should do that.
Exactly. And we have other hadith where there are other reasons that he's allowed it again.
Rob, 1 second. What's the word they use in Arabic? Does anybody know? Does anybody have hadith? Is it ruqya?
I'll share this.
Is it
ruqya? Because there's
I think
because go ahead.
This is shirk, brothers. This is shirk.
No, Rob. Listen, Rob. Relax. The word ruqya, I'm not sure whether it's ruqya there, but
Hamza,
it's ruqya. Yeah, it is ruqya. باب استحباب الرقية من العين. So even the title says the word ruqya. Now, if you ask any Muslim, will tell you about the ruqya. What ruqya is? Ruqya, in the Jahiliyyah, the word could be used as reciting some words that are for like magic or some nonsense. But the same word has different meaning based on what theological view you have. So Islamically, ruqya means the recitation of the Quran, okay, or some sort of dua. This is known. There are hadith about the Prophet ﷺ when one of the Sahaba was somewhere. It was not with the Prophet, and then he recited the Fatiha as ruqya. He just naturally recited it, and he came back to the Prophet. and asked him this question. And the Prophet even told him, how did you know that it's Surah Fatiha can be used as ruqya? He's like, I just recited it. He said, and he approved that because it's the words of Allah. So the word there is ruqya. It doesn't say that it's some sort of magic. This is how you understand it. That's your problem. But it's not. Islamically, if you ask any Muslim about ruqya, they'll tell you that you recite Quran or make dua upon someone who is sick, someone who is possessed, or something. It's actually used counter the stuff that you're saying. So,
can I respond to that? Can I respond to that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
We would never, ever do this in Christianity. Ever.
Lies. I've seen and I've heard Christians pray to saints, pray to
talking
Mary,
tongues and
pray to all sorts. So don't start coming here telling
we
us
would
that Christians
never
do
ever
that.
do spells.
Yeah.
We would
Cheers, Rob.
never ever do spells.
Another
It's against
point.
it is
Another
against
stupid
God.
point.
It's against
See you next time.
He didn't even listen to Khalil. He stuck to his point.
Ruqya
I think it's hilarious that we would never do spells in Christianity. It's like, yeah, you believe in sacrificing a man on a cross, blood sacrifice to appease a god. Yeah, we would never do something like this. Just the whole pagan foundation of paganism.
But it has to be clear. I think Rob has to be clear. We don't believe ruqya is spells. We believe it's a form of dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
It's against the spell.
Yeah, to give.
It's the antithesis of a spell.
It's literally the opposite.
I'm pretty sure this is this guy Muslim. Are you Muslim?
Yeah.
Oh, you need to turn
off
off
YouTube. King, are you Muslim? Hello?
You need to turn
He has a little Khabib. Oh, never mind.
Jordan's alter ego. What do you want, mate? You just wander around the streams, don't you? Hoping to just get on. Mehmet, you're muted. Have you heard this guy, Jordan? Yusuf.
No.
This sounds like Jordan trolling. Honestly, listen.
Viva Ronaldo.
Mehmet.
Why has everyone got YouTube in the background?
Viva Ronaldo.
Cristiano Ronaldo. Good shout. Good shout. You know it. So I've got Ahmed Adil, which is a Muslim. Then I've got Allahu Akbar, I'm assuming is a Muslim. And then I got Ray. Do you want Ray?
Yeah.
I think I've got the right people here for Ray.
He's a headache.
Who's Ray? Let's see.
Go on, I'll let you vote. Do you want Ray on or not? Or do you want to call it a night? I don't mind.
If you get Ray on, let Khalil deal with him.
I don't know who's Ray.
All right, Khalil, all right.
Yeah,
we're gonna let Khalil deal with Ray.
You got your new friend here.
Funny thing is, his name's not Ray. We'll just give him the name Ray. Go on, Ray.
Hello. Thanks for having me on. I didn't want to talk about what Yusuf talked about, but I do feel like there's a defense in time that I deserve, which is Ponders. Do you remember what I said though? I said that it is beyond human imagination, but the belief of the Sahaba was that these attributes are literal to Allah. Now, that was the premise of what I said. I said that the Sahaba.
Can you just come with the point you came with? This has been dealt with. Come with the point you came with.
Okay, it's been dealt with. But all I did, just want to reiterate, I said that they cannot be imagined by humans because Allah is not like His creation. So,
come with your new point. Come with your new stupid point.
Okay, dude. So I was wondering, what is the definition of unseen?
That which has not been seen.
Well, I mean, according to like Islam, because in the Quran in 81:23, it even uses Muhammad's name, right? And it says Muhammad does not know the unseen. Now,
right.
But we're riddled with hadiths where Muhammad knows the unseen. Now, the reason I asked what is the definition of unseen is because even in the Quran, Muhammad does see Gabriel, so angels are not the unseen.
we got the point.
That jinn.
We got your point. You're talking about the concept of al-ghaib, I believe. I believe that's what you mean. Ghaib, something that we don't know, we can't see, or the unseen. Fine. We believe in that, but we believe that Allah can reveal what He wants from the unseen to some of the prophets. Example: prophets are known to make prophecies. What is a prophecy? Something that will happen in the future that hasn't happened yet. So technically, it is part of al-ghaib, or the unseen. How do prophets?
That's not necessarily the same thing, though.
Let me finish, man. Let me finish, please. How do prophets, for example, how does Isaiah make a prophecy about the future? Right? Or any prophet. That's something that hasn't happened yet. It's in the knowledge of God. But God can make that knowledge known to some of His servants, the prophets. Very simple matter. I don't know where the complication is.
So in 81:23, Allah says that Muhammad does not know the unseen, and actually, it's in a
81 what
verses.
Yeah,
it's in
the context of that is in the absolute sense. The context of that is in the absolute sense. Now, you've got to keep in mind the context is important here. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Muhammad does not know the unseen, it's clear from the context that that is an absolute sense. But you've got to think about, well, what do we mean when we say the unseen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the seer of all things. So He sees it, and we affirm that He sees it. So we understand that the unseen is still seen by some. Allah being first and foremost.
But the verse doesn't say what Ray's saying.
What does it say?
It says,
what is it? 81 what?
81. I'm assuming it's 81:23. I'll read it from 19. Indeed, this Quran is the word of Allah, delivered by Jibril, a noble messenger angel, full of power, held in honor by the Lord of the throne, obeyed there in heaven and trustworthy. And your fellow man is not insane, and he did see that angel on the clear horizon, and he does not withhold what is revealed to him of the unseen. And this Quran is not the word of an outcast devil. So what other path would you take? I didn't hear the part where it said he doesn't know the unseen.
Which translation are you using?
The clear Quran.
The clear Quran. Okay. Well, I'm on corpus.quran just because it gives you 7 different translations that you can kind of.
Well, I'm reading the clear Quran, mate. That's one we recommend.
Well, okay. Let me read what it says on mine.
What does it matter?
Which verse is it again?
It's
23.
81
23.
23. No, 81:24.
Muhammad is not a withholder of the unseen. Now they put in parentheses.
You know what?
Brackets.
What does it say?
That he a holder after with he put of knowledge.
No, say it again. Say it again.
The thing here is,
am I muted?
You know,
say it again.
If you go even by corpus.quran.com,
I'll just say it again. It's in front of you.
Translation. It specifically mentions that Muhammad does not have knowledge of the unseen, but yet the hadiths are riddled with Muhammad less like saying.
See, the problem is your premise is false.
Are the majority of the components of hellfire, right? The inhabitants. But yet. Even according to the Quran,
you don't seem to understand basic English.
People are not going to hell yet because they, you know, there's not the day of resurrection, and their compensation will not be paid in full.
Ray, I'm going to have to do it this way. I've muted you. No one can hear you waffling on. Can you read the verse again, please? Because I think you before. Oh, he left.
He doesn't. Hamza, he didn't understand the word withholder. He's not the
withholder.
Yeah, withhold. He doesn't understand. He thinks that means that he doesn't know the unseen. He's saying he doesn't withhold the knowledge of the unseen.
Hey, we haven't seen Ray. This is the first time we've seen him. Hey.
So I couldn't hear you, but did you hear me read the corpus.quran translation?
Yes.
Yeah, read it again.
Oh man, it's gonna tab me.
And he does not withhold what is revealed to him.
I mean, he doesn't withhold what was revealed to him. I read, and he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't know what was revealed to him. Clear Quran.
I want to address the chat really quick. I apologize. I just want to interrupt real fast, and then we can get back to conversation. Some people in the chat, please don't use other people's children against them. Don't mention babies or somebody's child to hurt that person, please. You wouldn't want it if somebody attacked my daughter on this stream and used her against me, and that's happened before with some non-Muslims have come on when my daughter has been here and they've used her against me, you know, making claims like I'm going to marry her off and stuff like that. Please don't do it with others. It's just they didn't deserve it. And I'm not saying that it's the baby, you know, I'm not saying you're attacking the children, but don't use the children against the parents, please. Okay,
yeah,
it just makes us look really uncouth.
Tofu, you know who you are, young lady. I want to see a public apology. Public tawbah. Okay. All right. Right. There he is.
Okay, sorry. When I tab out to look at my screen, I can't. On my phone, I can't. But it says Muhammad is not a withholder of the unseen.
What do you think that means?
What does that mean? He doesn't withhold it.
It doesn't. Yeah. He doesn't keep it to himself.
What would withhold mean? That you actually have the knowledge of. And that it's actually kind of funny that in the brackets they put they put knowledge of. Now
look, Ray, you're wrong. You're just wrong. You messed up. You're wrong. He's not a withholder.
Withholder means
but withholder, someone holds something back, hides it, conceals it, and Allah's saying he's not holding it back.
Are you confusing the word withholder from beholder?
Yes, I think he is.
No, ask him this. Ray, what does withhold mean? Withhold.
If I withhold information from you, what have I done?
No, that's in the different context.
No.
Because
what does it mean?
No, in the context of the verses. In the context of the verses, right?
Before we get to the context, Ray. Before we get to the context, what does withhold mean?
Dude, every time I speak to a Muslim, they don't let me finish without talking about context. And it's hilarious that now that I want to talk about context, it's not important.
Ray, what does... We can't call you Ray as if he's going to stop talking like it's his name. It's not even his name.
Can you share the screen? I've got all
anyway, we're going to go on. Ray, what does the word withhold mean? In any context.
Withholder.
Hamza, share my screen.
What does withhold mean?
Withholder would be somebody who has knowledge of something and keeps it from people, such as the message.
Right.
The message.
So one second. 1 second. If somebody's not a withholder, what are they?
They're a person without knowledge. Is that what you're saying?
No. No, not at all. If someone's not,
there's somebody that doesn't withhold.
And not share my screen, Hamza. I've got all the translations up that are available on Quran.com. Right, and he does not withhold what is revealed of him of the unseen, and he does not stingily withhold the hidden realm. And he, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, is not stingy about the news of the unseen. And he, Muhammad ﷺ, withholds not a knowledge of the unseen.
Nothing there.
Your companion is not miserly with you by not conveying what he... This is so clear, this verse. By not conveying what he was instructed to convey to you, nor does he take any reward. And he, the Prophet, is not stingy about the news of the unseen. And in no way is he reluctant with the unseen. He does not withhold what is revealed to him from beyond. And he, Muhammad ﷺ, is not a withholder of knowledge of the unseen, nor does he grudge conveying this knowledge about the unseen. Every translation...
What is the transliteral translation? What's the transliteral translation?
Oh, so you want one specific...
No,
one
I just... No, I want... No.
Look. Which one? Which one?
You said the transliteral translation. You know, the transliteration.
Transliteration.
I'm just wondering.
Transliteration.
And your companion is not. So that's the wrong verse.
Oh wait, no, that's the wrong one.
Why do you want the transliteration? What's that got to do with it? Please don't insult us. Don't insult us. No, I'm going to stop.
There we go. Wama huwa I'm probably not best reading this. Can Khalil,
وَهُوَ
can you-
عَلَى الْغَيْبِ بِدَنِينٍ. Yeah, what does that mean, Ray?
And he is not a withholder of the unseen. Is the
Right, so which
translator
part
saying.
of that
exactly
says
what
he
every
doesn't know
other
the unseen? Because your claim was
So
this verse says he doesn't know the unseen. And every single translation says he doesn't withhold what he knows. It's the opposite.
no,
You
so
just made a
the
mistake,
re-
mate. Just,
and no,
just concede your mistake. Don't embarrass yourself no further,
no,
please.
this was what I was trying to get at.
Go on.
So here, the verses before it with the context, right? He is not a madman. He is not he was sent down with Gabriel. He is not a withholder of the unseen.
Right.
He
So what does that mean? What does that
not
mean? He is
everything
not
in
a
the
with-
because
Ray,
because
what
in the
does that
hadith
mean? What? Forget the hadith. What does that mean?
That
He
was
is
my-
not a withholder of the unseen. I'm
anybody
giving you one
listen that-
chance. I'm giving you one chance, Ray, and then I'm going to kick you off. Now listen to what I'm saying to you and pay attention. What does this verse mean? He is not a withholder of the unseen. What does it mean?
It means that if he has revealed the unseen, then he reveals it to everybody.
Right. No, you said it says he doesn't
Okay,
know the
no.
unseen.
No, my original, if you remember, my original point also had hadiths in it. Does
No,
anybody
the
remember
original
me
point.
saying
No, no,
that?
no, 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 no. Don't be pathetic. Your original point was a simple one. You came on and says the Quran says Muhammad didn't know the unseen. Yet there's so many hadith where he's explaining the unseen. And the problem you've got is your original point was wrong. The Quran doesn't say that. Therefore, the hadith within talking about the unseen marries up with the Quran. It's not against it. Now you're just embarrassing yourself. Just apologize. You made a mistake.
quoted it.
Move on. And we'll see you next time for your next stupid point. That's it, Ray. Flipping heck.
So I do apologize. I have to head out.
Yeah,
need
so
to
we're
head
gonna
out.
call it in anyway.
All right. Well, bless all of you. May Allah bless all of you and
you
all
too,
the other
bro.
participants.
Sorry for that
and,
rant, but I just couldn't take
It's okay.
that.
Inshallah, hopefully we'll see each other very soon. So,
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Gonna give Joshua Eds one last crack. Assalamu alaikum, bro. Honestly.
It's even worse now. It's just got the
the
forever loader.
Terry, forget you. You're not. Oh, no, you're not coming on. No chance.
No. Come on, man. Let's
Because
wrap up.
the
It's
meaning is the
3.5
bloody
hours
words.
now. 3.5 hours.
Oh, I
We've
was
got the
excited
forever
for
load.
Joshua. I thought I was expecting something good from him.
I think Joshua, yeah.
It's not good internet.
Joshua. I'm gonna go to my computer. Hey, Joshua there.
Hey, come on, man. All right, hey, I'll try again another day, man. Maybe it's just
No,
not
you're
the-
here.
Yeah. You got perfect connection now.
What do you want?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, just the second he says yes.
You're in the same position. What are you on about? I'm gonna go to my computer. You're in the same place.
Oh, the second he says yeah, he freezes.
You know, coming
It's not meant to be, Josh. Turn your video off. See if that improves again. Maybe.
Yeah, try
I'm
turning
coming
your
all the
video
way
off
from
again.
New Zealand, brothers.
Hey, welcome.
Mashallah. Right.
Yo,
can you hear us?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
We say
Yeah.
that, and then
We good?
Yeah.
All right, peace, brothers. Peace.
We're good.
Man, my brothers, I have some questions concerning the hadith and the Quran together going hand in hand.
I just give us your best question.
All right. I'm not sure if this has been answered before. Maybe I got on here too late, but here it is. It says that La ilaha illallah.
Did he just take shahada?
I don't know. It's just breaking up again. He's having no luck.
Sorry, did I miss something?
Yeah.
up.
No, we
didn't
missed
hear a
you,
word of
mate.
what
We
you
missed
said.
you. We didn't hear a word you said.
Your internet. Your internet, Josh.
Nah, he needs a better connection, man. Ethernet cable. But you need to get an Ethernet
Honestly.
cable.
Someone in the
Don't trust this Wi-Fi.
Yusuf, someone in the comment section said they like the way you say Ethernet.
Ethernet. Well, how am I supposed to say it? What's the right way?
No, I'm just saying someone said they like the way you say it.
I know, but you're laughing now. You're making me feel like I'm saying it.
No.
wrong.
All right, Joshua, another time, all the way from New Zealand. Next time, sort out your internet, please.
I'll tell you what, Khalil said. I had tears in my eyes when he said the Shahada. And then he comes on and he goes, "What have I missed?" And I'm thinking, you missed your Shahada.
All right, let this brother on just give salams, I think. Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Assalamu alaikum. I know you guys are wrapping up,
Walaikum
but
salam.
for the second person behind me, I just felt like their tone, you could easily tell when it's like a problem of the heart, rather than something that is an intellectual problem. And I feel like for the guy, if he's watching, he should definitely
I
take
see
his
Ray
time
and
for
Rob
this
as
for a
like
few
almost Ray and Rob have identical problems, but one comes from a Christian and background and the other from an atheist. But you can see that they're suffering from the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. So I just wanted to drive this point home that Asadullah Ali meant, and I feel like it's such an important point that randomness does not exist out there in the universe, right? And then I feel like to drive that point home, you guys can bring up the example of Laplace and how to a physicist what happens on a pool board is all down to math, and how if you tell him all the variables like the velocity or angle that you hit it at, he'll tell you where every single billiard ball will be able to go. But to a layman, it's all random, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hence, if an all-knowing existence did exist, nothing is random. And the implications of that is what I wanted to mention, and how even in evolution, when we mention things like random mutations, what does that mean? We're putting our own human bias onto a blind process. Can a blind process make any mistakes? Right. I just wanted to drive that point home. Imagine randomness does not exist out there, and now the implications of that is huge. That means humans were decreed from the very beginning, right? What decreed it, right? And those are the questions I feel like are really important that atheists should
All right, dude.
tackle.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, mashallah, those are some really good points. Assalamu alaikum.
Here's Jordan's alter ego.
Wait, someone in
Quickly.
the comments as well said Rob versus Ray. It would be absolutely epic. It would be great to see Rob and Ray have a debate about Christianity or atheism.
All right, Mehmet, you can't even sort out your internet. Forget you. Ahmed Ali, just come give salams, I'm assuming. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ahmed Adil, should I say. Where's salam?
So it was kind of off because I'm in a bad area. There's no coverage where I am, and the guy right before the brother, he was talking about something, mentioning the unseen, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, something like that. So I didn't get his point.
He had no point, mate. He had no point. He misunderstood the Quran. He actually Oh, I can't do that. Right. He just misunderstood the word withhold with behold. He's not a beholder of the unseen. Oh, that means he hasn't seen it. No, he's not a withholder. I mean, to hold it back. All right, Abdul Qadir. Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you guys hear me?
Nope, can't hear you.
Okay. I just want to 5 seconds. Brother Hamza, if you watch the 10th part of Sirat Muhammad by Sheikh Osman, he answered you remember Chris from Australia? He was always asking about how you believe the Ashab al-Kahf, right?
No
So if
idea what you're talking about.
I mean, Chris from Australia, he's says that how you guys believe in Ashab al-Kahf.
Chris from Africa.
Elephant. If you watch the 10th Sirah by Osman, the 10th Sirah by Osman, Sheikh Osman, it will answer.
All right. Jazakallah khair, bro. Assalamu alaikum. And that was that. Anyhow. All right. Thank you, guys. Sharif, thank you for jumping on, man. You came from nowhere, man. What were you doing around? Knocking around?
My senses said there's an athist, and I thought, I'm gonna come on. No,
Subhanallah. Come on, perfect timing, bro. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair for jumping on. Because
Yeah.
Hashim was supposed to come today and he didn't realize he was supposed to come today. So he missed it. So you made up the fifth man. Jazakallah. Much appreciated. All right, I'm going to let you boys go now. So, Sharif, salam alaikum. Jazakallah. Anything going on in your channel apart from Dylan CE?
I don't know what
Probably.
we're doing.
I can't remember. I don't
No,
think
we're
we've
gonna.
discussed it yet.
Jake he really wants to talk about what is a logical contradiction. So our next show, not this Sunday, the Sunday afterwards, going to be on what is a logical contradiction.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
very good, nice topic.
Inshallah.
I need to talk about Jay about what's his name, Thomas Aquinas, but that's another story. Take care, bro. Salam alaikum.
Everyone, subscribe to Thought Adventure Podcast and subscribe to Kalamology.
Oh, we'll come to Kalamology. Don't worry. Let's do with you first.
And subscribe to
Pondering Soul. Listen, I don't think the Discord's going to be up this Tuesday for the book clubs. It might be the following Tuesday. Okay.
Why? Why?
I don't know. Speak to the flipping Discord server
Get them
builders.
to mod me. Get them to mod me. I'll just because we don't need to overcomplicate it. You can literally just post a link on the Discord.
No, they're still building the Discord server.
It takes 2 minutes to set up a category and a channel.
Well,
Don't take
speak to
long.
the All right. Well, you're a member
Yeah,
anyway, aren't you? So yeah. So Ace,
I'm not.
if you're listening,
I'm waiting for you to send me the bloody link. I've been asking you for it for ages. You've not got it yet.
all right. Ace
Oh,
is in
Ace.
charge at the moment, so
Okay.
you'll get him on it. All right. So, salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
And Khalil, Jazakallah khair. It was a pleasure having you. As your debut was fantastic. Alhamdulillah. You had the perfect guest. You ripped him apart on Mecca beautifully. So Jazakallah khair for coming. Inshallah, I'm pretty sure. Hopefully, if you're willing to come on again, we'll have you on again.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khair for having me. It's an honor and privilege to be here.
It was a pleasure, bro. It was a pleasure. Seriously, bro. Anything going on Kalamology apart from ripping up people on Clubhouse?
I'm taking a break right now. Focus more a little bit on Clubhouse, but inshallah, there'll be some podcasts coming up soon. Inshallah.
Clubhouse is like 24-hour dawah, man.
Yeah,
Dangerous.
amazing. Yeah,
dangerous stuff.
It is.
All right. Take care, Aki. Salam
Jazakallah
alaikum.
khair. Thank you very much. Salam alaikum, everybody.
Wa alaikum salam. MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair for everybody coming. MashaAllah. We passed 2,000. I think we was up to 2,100. So beautiful. Jazakallah khair for those who went fishing and brought us some new fish. And apologize to everybody. And you're going home to go to. Yeah, Khalil was beautiful, beautiful addition. Apostate Prophet came, mashallah, and it was just a perfect soft topic for Khalil just to wreck him. I thought it was awesome. 2,136 viewers. Mashallah, that's a record, isn't it, for a live stream? We did well, and you're still holding in. 3 hours and 41 minutes later, we're still on 1,200. Mashallah, everyone's going now. So yeah. So Jazakallah khair, everybody. What's coming up? Nothing. Listen. All right. So basically, yeah, there's no stream on Sunday because I'm out. My father's down, and I'm taking him out for the weekend. So I'm not going to be on any streams. I won't be doing my live stream on Sunday morning, and I won't be in the EF Tower. But EF Tower will be doing, I'm assuming, open forum on Sunday night, inshallah. Monday, I don't know if there's going to be a shop because I don't know if I'm going to open my shop on Monday, Tuesday. I suppose the next one will be Wednesday shop, inshallah. So yeah, Ace, you sort Yusuf out, man. Mod him up, yeah, so he can help with the sorting out of this. If we can get this book club going by Tuesday, we'll get it going, inshallah. That's that. Thanks for joining another arena, inshallah. See you next time. Let's do some fishing though. Now we've got 2 weeks till the next arena. Do you want to know who's in the next arena? Because the next arena is knockout. It's like, I mean, to be honest with you, you need to start fishing now, because when people hear who the gladiators are, it's like, look, listen to this lineup: Hashim, Jake, the Sheikh, and Zakir Hussein. Dangerous lineup. Dangerous lineup. Dangerous lineup. Subhanallah. Yeah, Sheikh Uthman, Jake, the Muslim metaphysician, Hashim from Dawahwise, and Zakir Hussain from Zakir Hussain. Inshallah. Yeah, you guys fish on Clubhouse and that. Sabur and Shabir will be on the next one, inshallah. But the next one's going to be brutal. Hashim, Jake, Uthman, Zakir, and me. So those are going to be the gladiators. So I can't wait for that. All right, guys. Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, Ahmed, Adil. Not going to get on today. Yeah, Khalil will be back, mashallah. Sharif was a Brucey bonus today, mashallah. Yeah, we destroy the arguments, isn't it? That's it. No matter how many there are now, I'll destroy 5 Christians on my own. Don't worry about that. Right, time to go. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Here comes the line.